I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. No public hearings, no presentations. The invitation for those to speak who signed up, 3 minutes per person. We're going to stick to the 3-minute rule. We've been this evening. Dick?
At the April 2013 meeting, the town board voted unanimously to kill the zoning proposal that had been in the works since 2009. Supervisor Mullaney has stated that it was tabled and will be brought up again in the future. I can assure you this will not happen. The people who spoke out against it will not let it happen. I feel that Supervisor Mullaney believes that a few people on the latest committee speak for the backbone of Ticonderoga. Supervisor Mullaney is quoted as saying that a few people aroused others, that there are a lot of misconceptions about the new zoning. He said there was no sense in going on because of the intensity and anger of the new plan. What she failed to say is that many of the people who spoke out against the zoning came from South High and Chilson areas. These people did read the plan, and they sure did not have any fear of speaking out against something they did not want. Supervisor Mullaney and Mrs. Saxon agreed that revised zoning plan would have little effect on most people. It must be nice when two people can know what is best for everyone else. The zoning committee was chaired by Jim Majors, who was upset that tens of thousands of dollars were wasted. That is very true. That money should have been used to help pay for the drinking water problems facing Ticonderoga. He stated that the town could alter the product. I'm not sure what he meant by that. I purchased my store, which includes my living quarters, as in one building, in 1974. According to the new zoning plan, I cannot live there any longer if I want to run my business. But Mr. Majors and the committee forgot is not everyone operates a business is on Main Street. He also stated that poverty is increasing in the town. That is true, but put some of the blame on the APA. Or did he forget the hoops Walmart and Lowe's went through to open stores here? What chance does the little guy have? He also states that the police station is ready to fall in and crush our police officers. If it is that bad, the Chief John should not allow his officers to go to work using that facility. After last month's meeting, let's hope the town board realizes the need to listen to what the people want, not just what a few of their close friends want. As I've stated before, if you don't do what is right and tell the people the truth about the water issues, you will have a problem on your hands. We want to know what options are out there and how much money you are spending on everything. Who is telling you what needs to be done and why? Does everything have to be done at once, or can it be done in stages? It's also always suggested that you get a second opinion before having major surgery. But you'd think that's a good idea before you cut into our wallets. It seems odd that Pride can get low-income walking trail and beautification grants, but cannot get a grant that fits our infrastructure. Maybe it's time for committees like the Main Street Alliance to focus on helping the whole town while we still have one. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Whitman?
I just didn't get to hand this out to everybody. This is the article about the Minnesota school that moved the police into the school as a resolution for improving the safety. The Minnesota school was a township similar in size to Ticonderoga, around 5,000 people. The school just made an office space available for the police department to have an officer come in Monday through Friday, same here, 8 to 3, and they'll utilize that one office for paperwork, reports, phone calls, and my suggestion has been for a couple months to have Mark Johns move himself into the elementary and middle school. All he needs is an office computer. He's got the phone, he'll have everything he needs. John McDonald has said for months he'll make the space available yesterday. Monday to Friday, 8 to 3, it's not even the entire shift. Does his paperwork. If your patrolman on duty needs assistance, well, then Mark can go and assist him. But we're going to have that police presence. I've received some resistance, and I just want to address that. I've only received resistance from 2 town employees, and I just want to address the resistance that I've received One of them was the waiting for Obama's proposed additional funding to this school resource officers, how the acronym for the federal government. This plan's already in place for high-risk schools. It has been for many years. Obama wants to add an additional 1,000 funding for 1,000 new school resource officers, and then also about $100 million of grant money for schools to make improvements, bulletproof glass, metal detectors, stuff of that nature. We are not a high-risk district. We are not a city school. I just don't see it happening. And also, between the sequester and Obama's position at this time and government's position, I don't see as that something is going to be coming down the pike anytime soon. And with that, waiting for something like that is putting our children at risk. You know, one thing is, well, what's the school doing? Well, the school has done all that it can. Between the high school, they have locking doors, solid locking doors. They can have a full lockdown procedure. The St. Mary's School, locking doors on the classrooms. They can have a lockdown procedure. The elementary and middle school, it doesn't get any plainer. They need help. The school has done all that they can fiscally. They do not have closing classroom doors. Everything is all open concept. And the majority of our students, over 50% of all the school district students, lie up in those two buildings at the elementary and middle school. It takes one person, Mark Johns, to have an office space at that school. One body. It doesn't get any fiscally more responsible than that. We're 5 months out from Sandy Hook. They're a township of 2,000 people. Tell me they weren't saying, that's sleepy town. This stuff never happens here. I believe we need some leadership and we need some decisive decision makers that just act. I do not want some special committee formed. We do not need to mull this over and mull this over. As I said, Dave has had discussions with John McDonald, as I have, and it's been clear from the school. Mark Johns was welcome yesterday. So any waiting needs to be explained, because that's my kids, my nieces and nephews, and this is not okay with me to have nothing. Those kids are sitting ducks. It takes 4 minutes for a shooter to walk in and knock down 29 kids. In our middle school and elementary school, those little kids, 4 years old to 13 years old, they'd have to be herded into the hallways. It would be a dream for a shooter, a dream to get them into libraries to be locked down, the only locking room. So I just would like action on this board.
Thank you. Mike Powers?
I'd like to talk a little about last month's meeting and what we learned about our board. Specifically talking about the zoning law that got hand. He didn't read it. He listened to a bunch of lies and a bunch of half-truths, which if you had read the document, you would have realized that they were exactly that. For example, Mr. Cook, I've been told that you were opposed to the document because it says it would limit hunting to lots of 50 acres or more. That is a lie. The document says, and I quote, "No provision of this section shall be deemed to regulate lawful hunting, non-commercial use of firearms by residents on their own property or historic reenactments." You don't lead, you follow. You were handed a resolution by somebody outside the board who wasn't council, and you were told to vote yes to the resolution, which you did. You lied. You promised repeatedly that a public hearing would be held on the document before a final vote was held. Instead, you went ahead and voted. It seems to me you're more worried about doing what's best to put you back in those seats than what's best for the town. You're ungrateful. This document represents the work of between 20 and 40 people. Some of them were paid, most of them were volunteers. Those people deserve this document to have a public hearing before a final vote. You couldn't even bother having it. You couldn't even bother to say thank you, which you have everybody's email that was on those committees. You couldn't even send an email saying thank you for your service. Couldn't do that either. And this, to me, is the most troubling thing we learned last month. You learn that you can be bullied. You let a mob, albeit a well-organized mob, but a mob nonetheless, tell you what to do. The document which you rejected, an arbitrary and capricious decision in my opinion, wasn't even on the agenda. Yet you let this mob tell you to vote on it. And you did. Unanimously. For this reason alone, I don't feel any one of you deserve to sit in those chairs as pastor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Can I make a comment? In regards to your quote of what I said, it's not entirely accurate, but it does have to do with that, yes. Okay? If I can look at the document, I'll tell you pretty close to exactly what I said.
You can do what you want.
Well, that's, you made the comment, so
Well,
I'm
no,
telling you what the
it's
facts are.
Her meeting, or if she, do what she wants. If she wants to.
That's in the 3.5 years I've been here, that was the worst, probably the worst evening that I've had here. And I haven't forgiven myself for that vote since then. At the time, felt an obligation to support the board. And I also felt that there were many people who didn't understand that, did not understand the content of it. There were many people that did have a general idea, but the people had been worked up, as you said, yes, we were bullied and allowed it. And in order to keep, I feel, in my opinion, we were bullied, but I felt it was at such a high emotional level, it had to stop right there, that the forces who were opposed to this would stop at nothing to keep it stopped. But it was a wrong vote, and I agree, and I have to live with that. And I do apologize to you. I've been beating myself up for that since that night, every day. There should have been more cohesiveness, not so much effort to negativity and fighting and anger. It should have been more of a cohesive understanding. We don't agree with this area, we don't agree with that area, yet we'd like to help make this document better. That's what I wish I'd heard, but we did not, so I apologize, I do. That's one I have to live with, and it's a tough one. Stu?
Good evening, Stu Baker. I'd like to speak to the zoning as well, and I'm going to put on my hat as chairman of the planning board for a moment. By your actions at your last meeting, this board has now put us in the position, and I say us meaning the town, of having an updated comprehensive plan and an outdated zoning code. The current outdated zoning code makes multiple references to the development plan of the town. Presumably, courts would interpret that to mean the recently adopted comprehensive plan. The two don't match. New York state law is very clear, and legal counsel can confirm this for you. Zoning must comply with the comprehensive plan. The planning board now has the task of administering a zoning code that does not comply with the comprehensive plan. I also note that the revisions to the zoning were the only element out of the recently adopted comprehensive plan, and it was adopted by this board as policy. It was the only element out of that comprehensive plan that this board was taking active leadership to move forward. And you've clearly stepped away from that. In fact, you've tossed it aside. What are you doing to implement anything in the comprehensive plan? I've seen no leadership coming from this board on anything from the comprehensive plan. That was a product of a lot of hard work by members of this community, and it's being totally disregarded. Any action moving forward by this community in implementing elements of the comprehensive plan has been done by other parties, not by this board. And that has got to change. You were elected to lead, not to follow, to lead. Please do so.
Thank you, Steve. Joe, did you want to speak?
I didn't sign up, but I'll say something.
Go ahead.
Say something. Debbie, you and I go way back. I understand how difficult it is to deal with a mob. And this mob didn't just spring up at the last town board meeting. They had been coming to the meetings initially of the planning board when they were tasked with reviewing the zoning law. Once the planning board, out of just desperation, saw that because of the leadership of the planning board, I'll be very blunt, Mr. Peters let it go on, we couldn't achieve anything. Therefore, the planning board, and Mike and Stuart on the planning board at the time, basically relented and sent the document back to the town board with the recommendation that a committee be formed. The committee was formed. It had a very good cross-section of the community. We put in hundreds of man-hours. We didn't hear a lot of input until the end of the process. People were under the notion that because they submitted a question or they had a problem with the zoning law, that because we didn't follow their wishes and change what they wanted changed, that we didn't listen to them. You know as well as I do, just because somebody comes to any in authority, or with more accurately, with responsibility, you're not always going to just, oh yeah, whatever you want to do. We took time. We went through each one, each of the recommendations, each of the complaints, if you will. We looked at the zoning maps, and we looked at the guts of the zoning. We took all that stuff into account and against the written portion of the comprehensive plan. And our decisions were based on those things. When it came out by the mob leaders, and I will call them the mob leaders, it's very classic. We know Lamont, we know the leaders of full analysis of mob mentality. Handful of leaders spreading misinformation and rounding people up. People were riled up by these leaders saying that we ignored their comments and their suggestions, which was a lie, absolute lie. The heat was really turned on when our first public meeting, the mob was there with misinformation, misreading of the code, not having read the code, as Mike suggested, not having read the recommendations, and under the impression that once our work was done, the thing was set in stone, the thing being the new zoning. No, we would say, first of all, the town board has the ability to make changes. Several of us volunteered, by us, members of the zoning committee, volunteered to hold additional informational workshops in the different neighborhoods of the town. We were willing to do that. Jim Majors did attend them by himself at Eddie's. But they were feeling the ropes because they had already practiced on the zoning board and the zoning committee. When I read the minutes and saw what happened, you were bullied over. And I can't help but believe that minds were already made up by certain board members. And procedurally, you could have tabled it. And I understand, it's tough. We saw this in these meetings, how vicious these people were getting. I'll end it with this, and I'm going to use round numbers. We had about 100 people, roughly, at this meeting. The town is roughly 5,000 people, roughly. After the document was turned down by the board, the comment was made by Justice Dahlback that democracy had been served. Well, I might not be the most educated man, but I don't think 1/50th of a population dictating to the other 49/50ths is democracy. And I urge the board, if they can do it legally, to resurrect this and let us finish the job. Thank you.
Matt, do you have any input? Any comments, response?
Is the board's pleasure. Would you like
some follow-up on options? Because I can get back to you with a memo on what your options are, if the board wants to revisit it.
Can I make a comment? Can I speak to that one? Yeah, I had a lot of reservations about voting, having to deal with that at all that night that it was put to us. But as you can see right now, I mean, the town is facing major, multi-level contentious issues, okay? Water systems, people not in districts, contemplating maybe having to cut people's water services off. I said ill will is going to be plentiful. We don't need more of it at our own choosing. I said this was not the time, and timing is key in these kinds of things, and I just didn't feel it was appropriate to bring it up or even talk about it. And again, it was one of those things that you wish there was a different way, a better way, and I appreciate all your service. I appreciate the work that you did. And I didn't mean to run roughshod over anybody. But still, we have a big battle, and I pick my battles. Well, my battle today is trying to keep the town in water and not protracted legal battles. There was probably a dozen people who would have vowed to sue the town if this thing got implemented, okay? Again, I think common sense, practical, no Philadelphia lawyer either, Joe, okay? Common Joe. And that's how I look at things.
What I can tell you, Wayne, is, and I'm sure Matt, I'm not a lawyer, but I did go to my training for the planning board. You can be sued for almost any decision you make.
I understand that.
However, if the process is impeccable, your decisions are seldom overturned on substance. Is that correct, Matt? That is correct.
But I understand, Joe, but that all comprises $200 an hour of legal counsel defending us in court, okay? That's the part that evades me.
So, Brett, throw the suit on the water issue will get you the back away from that as well, then, I suppose.
No, because we have...
Oh, but that's $200 an hour as well, isn't
But
it?
we have court orders to back us up, okay? We have consent orders by the Department of Health saying that we have to fix the water system, okay?
Well, I can tell you this way, I'm not so upset with the fact that you turned it down, as much as I am upset
Should have been tabled.
with the process.
I understand.
Okay. I'm not saying that I'm not upset because it was turned down, because now, as a member of the planning board, we're in a real tough spot. Exactly what Stu was talking about, but there are other things. There are other very simple things in this existing zoning law that are broken that are also going to expose the town to lawsuits because it's not clear. The zoning law as it is now is not clear. We can make decisions, and that's why I said to Steve, I am going to make sure I scrutinize everything to the nth degree because this zoning law that we have now is full of so many holes.
Swiss cheese doesn't have as many holes as...
But I think...
I'll give you a perfect example, very simple example. The zoning laws, the sign portion of the zoning laws talks about temporary signs shall only be up for 30 days. But there's no definition in that law of what a temporary sign is. We deny somebody the sign, we make them take it, we have the zoning officer, we tell the zoning officer there's a violation, or the zoning officer finds a violation. Tells John Doe to take the sign down. Goes to court, what's going to happen? Well, the zoning laws are full of a hole. There's no definition of what a temporary sign is. That's a little teeny one.
But Joe,
It's a teeny one.
but isn't your code officer has officer's discretion. The code officer can make that call. I mean, I think you're going to see a lot.
He's got to have the law to back it up.
I understand, but still,
That's just a small thing.
but I think you're going to see a lot of improvements in things. I just have a sense that things are going to improve in spite of whatever's happened in terms of this overall plan.
It makes it harder for us.
I understand.
And all it means is if the planning board is sued, and we have to defend the members of the planning board. So it's a litigious society. The only way you're not exposed is if you're in the ground. Even that, I don't think you know.
Abuse is in abundance, Joseph.
That's what we go around.
Yeah.
I don't have the exact minutes. I thought they were probably in here. of the meeting that went on before the town board meeting. Do you have a copy of that, Tanya? Of the preemptive meeting that took place before our town board meeting that night? Does that have it in it?
I'm sorry, what preemptive meeting? Did the town board have a meeting before the?
No, the zoning,
meeting last?
we were going to be going into our town board meeting, and the zoning issue took preemptive, as you said. It probably should have been said, we're not going to go over this tonight, this is town board meeting night. But what I just basically want to say, a couple had asked if any of the town board members would speak up, and in the end I did. And when I got done, I said, basically, it should be shut down. I probably should have said it should be tabled. Because I did read, and then I did do a lot of reading in it, and there was things, talking with Joe, maybe I missed the interpretation of it. But, as he said, there was a large crowd in. We took the vote. It probably should have been tabled. And I would be willing to put it back on, but I would like to have it tabled until a time when the board and the planning board people can officially sit down and go through it one piece by one piece.
And that's what should have happened. But I will say this, the comprehensive plan that the zoning law is supposed to be based on is getting on to about 7 years old now.
It needs to be gone through.
Almost time for it to be redone. Steve, I appreciate that, and hopefully Matt can come back to you, the board, with options on what to do with it so that it's not dead.
And just so everybody knows, it's not for getting elected, because this is my last term. I made that decision a few months ago, and it's basically for my health. So anybody else wants this office, you better jump in and run.
I've said this at your meeting, and I'll say it again. If you guys would ever like to sit down and talk, I can easily explain where I was coming from as a person, and would like to understand it, because I didn't. You know, I think because you do zoning and you understand zoning, that you think maybe we do, but I didn't. And all the things I knew as a business that protect my business, the word commercial, the word grandfather, these words were gone. And you guys said it was okay, but I didn't understand how it was okay. You said I'm allowed. You know, I'm no longer service business. You know, 34 years, that's all I got. Okay, that's how I retire. And it scared me what was going on as a business owner. Okay, personally. I wasn't being vindictive. I didn't understand. I think I did reach out and say, guys, if you can sit down and talk to me. When Jim Majors came to the restaurant, they were upset I brought him out there. They said 15 minutes. 2.5 hours later, he was so interesting. And it went from throw the zoning plan out to we understand downtown. It's good. What's happening with downtown is good. But we still, with our businesses, were afraid of what was going on. You know, I don't know what you say about everybody else, but it scared me. And I didn't understand it. And maybe you thought I did. I read it. I still didn't understand it. Okay? That's me, personally. Okay?
But one of the things we probably should have recommended is to name the zones in a way similarly to Town of Hague, where the Town of Hague has Hamlet 1, Hamlet 2, Hamlet R, because people do latch on to that first label.
Yeah.
And that might be one of the things that would have come out if we were continuing to hold meetings. But I understand that. You look at it, you're looking for something that says residential, commercial,
Yeah.
industrial, and they're not there.
Yeah, and that's all I knew.
They're in the text, but they're not in the label.
It's the only words I knew, and it scared me. It did. I was fearful of what was going to happen with my business and you know, where my wife and I were going to go. So that was me, okay? That's where I was coming from.
Well, I will urge the town board that Matt comes up with the possibilities, let's resurrect the process of this zoning law.
I'll sit here to tell you right now, if you held that final public hearing and you voted the same way you did, I wouldn't be sitting here tonight. I wouldn't say a word. But you promised that public hearing and you never held it. Yeah, I'm calling you.
Any more comments? Thanks, I'm glad you guys came. Roger, you're on the list.
I did think of a few things that I'd like to bring up in front of the board. One is, I live on Stoughton Drive. Sagamore Drive and Outlet Drive have been paved in the last couple of years. Our road is at least 20 years old and has not been paved. It's in terrible repairs. It's crumbling, and I'd like to know if there are any plans to take care of it. At the end of Stoughton Drive is a piece of property that has a right-of-way down to the sewer pump station, and that right-of-way belongs to that property belongs to 4 owners, and for some reason, the town thinks that they own that road. Well, they don't own the road, but they have the right-of-way to access the pump station. And plowing that road in the wintertime has torn up the fabric matting that's underneath that, and the road needs some attention. And basically, it's been torn up because of the plowing going through there during the winter months. And I request that be taken care of. I informally asked Tracy Smith well over a year ago to take care of that. It's kind of slipped by the wayside. I know he's a busy guy, and he probably just didn't get to it and forgot about it. The third thing that I'd like to mention, I stopped by the police station during the past week or so and spoke to Officer Belden, I believe it was, about residents and others parking on the sidewalks in the town. Particularly at Lord Howe, Champlain Avenue, it has become epidemic. It makes our town look ridiculous. And I asked if we had any laws,
State law.
to prevent people from doing that. And Officer Belden went through the town regulations, he couldn't find anything.
It's under state law.
I respectfully ask that if there is some sort of regulation that we can address, it makes our town look dumpy.
Vehicle traffic law.
And go with that. I asked for Mr. Johns to call me, and he hasn't. Mark left a message, and I have not received a return phone call from him.
Go ahead. I'm going to ask that we give Mark the floor. Have courtesy floor. He's right here with us. He's right here with us, and he can speak now.
Mr. Nolfi, I did receive your message, and Officer Belden did ask me advice on that issue. You bring something to the table that was actually discussed in, it was last summer into fall, that there was quite a bit of discussion on enforcement of an existing New York State vehicle and traffic law, obstructing a sidewalk by parking a vehicle, which is absolutely on the books. We addressed it last year with Town Board at the next Public Safety Committee. It's already on my agenda to discuss. Certain areas, when we enforce that particular law, issuing the warnings and the parking tickets, we actually create more of a hazardous situation because we cause those vehicles to park in the roadway. And regardless of the lines being painted on the roadways, a vehicle on a town roadway, as long as it's not obstructing both lanes of traffic, it's allowed to park in the middle of that lane. Where we look for a town law in certain areas saying that parking within the painted lanes on the highway is unlawful. And I was going to bring that back up in my committee meeting to re-explore that and also discuss with politicians that sit on that board whether they want me to go out and make a serious enforcement push on that particular issue. But I did receive the message.
I do have concerns that should they move the vehicles more into the roadway, that creates an even greater hazard. As it is now, driving around hazardous, and people trying to walk on the sidewalk, obviously.
We got 3 areas that are a problem.
It is something I think that I would appreciate, being addressed.
And after our next meeting, I promise I'll call with you to let you know whether we'll move on to which direction we're going to move.
Appreciate it. Thank you. It's a minor issue, I know, but
Other people have spoken about it because it's been discussed in the past.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edgar. Okay, motion to accept the correct minutes. We've got April 19th and April 11th. Where the- April 11th, regular town board meeting, and the special town board meeting held on April 19th for the executive session for negotiations regarding the groundwater source. What?
The financial, the monthly financial.
Oh, yeah, what date was that?
That's the 29th, missed that one. It's the last Monday.
Tanya, you're
That's when you guys had your meeting. When was your meeting?
It was the 30th.
Yeah.
30th. April 30th.
And April 30th.
Move we accept the minutes as presented.
Second?
Thank you.
I'll second it. Keith, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are carried. Okay, go into the report of the committees, Public Works.
We held our Public Works meeting on April 3rd at 9 o'clock in the afternoon with myself, Jeff Cook, Tracy Smith, Derek Clary, and Sue Eustis in attendance. Also present was Michael Mascarenas, Jody Alcott, Robin Montgomery, Bruce Batiste, John Bartlett, and Jim Dugan. Under public comment, Robin lives on Lake George Avenue, Robin Montgomery, and she'd asked about a plug storm drain that open ends onto her property and causes sinkholes. So the guys are gonna look into that and see if there's any remedy we can come up with to deal with that issue for her, provided it's in our, if we have to do it, we're supposed to do it. Under Mike Mascarenas, under the Essex County Planning, and Jody Alcott, Mike and Jody came to the meeting today to make the committee aware of a $2.5 million grant that is available through North Country Regional Council for water and sewer projects that are administratively shovel-ready. The grant will have a quick turnaround. Applications are due by May 22nd, and awards will be announced this summer. This is a gap funding grant for up to 20% of the project cost, or a maximum of $500,000. Grant applications will be very competitive, and it is thought that this funding will be an annual allocation. It was hoped that the test wells would be eligible for this grant, but it does not meet the requirements for this application. John Street Storm Sanitary Sewer Separation Project is shovel-ready and meets all the requirements for the application. Essex County Planning will provide a resolution for the town board to adopt, allowing them to submit an application for this grant on the town's behalf.
I have that.
You have that? It's in the back? Okay. I saw it here somewhere. Anyway, I would move that we offer that, I can offer that as a resolution.
Municipal resolution endorsing the filing of application and securing adequate funding from the NCR EDC.
Where is it now?
Back of the supervisor's report. Yes, it's
I didn't see it. Got it? Okay.
It's 2 pages back forward.
Yeah, I don't have it on there.
Town of Ticonderoga is hereby endorsing
Yeah.
filing an application to the North Country Regional Economic Development Council Municipal Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Fund to secure adequate funding, and on approval of this nomination, form a full ESD, Empire State Development Consolidated Funding Application for North Country Infrastructure Fund will be completed when and if selected to do so by North Country Regional Economic Development Council.
So I'll second it.
I'm, yeah, Jim seconds.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you. Jumping down to D on the next page, the town board has approved a letter to be sent to all water users above the reservoir. This letter will be drafted by Jim Dugan of AES, reviewed by the town board attorney, town attorney Matt Fuller, and then forwarded by return receipt mail. And I understand that Jim has drafted one, and you've also drafted one, Matt, is that? advising the people above the reservoir.
He hasn't sent it to me yet, but he was drafting one.
Okay, all right. Under water, wastewater supervisor's report, that we're doing back truck bids. 2 bids were received, one from Eagle Equipment and the other from Joe Johnson. A bid comparison was completed and the Eagle Equipment was more compliant with the bid specifications. It is recommended that the town not accept the trade-in value of $70,000 for the old back truck, as it is felt it can be sold for at least $100,000 privately. The Water Sewer Committee recommends the town board accept the bid of $388,640 from Eagle Equipment for a vac truck, jeter, and chassis. And I should offer that. Jetter?
I'll second that. I'll second it.
More discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Also, I would offer another resolution drafting the finance officer to obtain funding for the purchase of the said truck. Is that the right wording, Tanya? We got to set up a bond, do a bond resolution and a capital account, right?
I don't have any information on it.
Okay. Okay, typically, we authorize a purchase like this, and we have to come back in a couple days and try to do another meeting to authorize a bond resolution, and then the setting up of the capital account to deal, or setting up the capital account and then the bond resolution, and then the capital account will receive the money.
But he didn't already have that money set
Pardon me?
aside for this?
It's going to be taken out of a number of different
We're
places.
going to borrow like $50,000, but the rest of it we're going to pay for. So you want to hold off on it then?
That's what you running today. I gave that.
I got it all here, Jeff, but in terms of what we do, we authorize the award bid.
We usually have carriage or authorization, and I don't have one for the back truck.
Okay, so we'll have to wait and do it again at the next, time we get together. 2 weeks. 2 weeks, all right, that's fine. We'll wait, is that okay? Yes, fine, sure. No problem. All right, Schuyler Street. A portion of the sewer main requires replacement due to infiltration of tree roots to the degree that it would be impossible to maintain it properly. Under sewer backups, a home on Callahan Drive received extensive damage due to a sewer backup on April 12th. The sewer overflow also resulted in the replacement of 60 feet of sewer main due to the extensive infiltration of tree roots. Our insurance carrier has agreed to pay for the damages due to a blockage in the sewer main from tree roots, but not without warning. The future claims filed for this reason, the town would be put under a review process, which could result in higher premium, loss of insurance, or a forced maintenance and repair program for all sewer mains. Should have it. Yeah. Due to 90% of the sewer mains being a clay tile pipe, they are susceptible to tree roots, and a preventive maintenance program is not feasible. The cost to replace sewer mains is too not feasible. Most sewer backups are not covered under our insurance policy, as many residents have floor drains and sump pumps, which are not permitted under our sewer ordinance. The Water Sewer Committee recommends that the town board approve a notice to the public advising residents who have municipal sewer to verify their homeowner's insurance includes coverage for sewer backup, or to purchase a rider to add this coverage. The town is not able to purchase this coverage as it is considered a personal benefit. And we have the letter, and it's attached to the back, and I would move that we approve that consent.
I'll second.
Yeah, it's right here. You want me to read the letter to you? It says, annual notification to Ticonderoga municipal water and sewer users. The town of Ticonderoga would like to remind municipal sewer users to verify that their homeowner's policy includes coverage for sewer backups. The homeowner is responsible for water and sewer laterals from their home to the town-owned mains. Heavy recent rainfalls could put your home at risk for sewer backups due to a combined sewer/storm water system. Insurance for sewer backups is not normally included in the standard policy and may require the purchase of a rider to your homeowner's policy. Your insurance agent can make recommendations on the type and amount of coverage that you may need. Additional safeguards to further protect your home are to ensure that you have a water turnoff located at the main connection to your home, a check valve on your sewer lateral, and a backflow preventer on your water lateral. If you have any questions, please call Sue Eustace at 518-585-6265, extension 10, Monday through Friday, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay. I would move that we approve this to be published, I guess. Okay, just a second.
All in favor?
Thank you, everybody. Deputy Water Wastewater Supervisor's Report under the water filtration plant. Number 2 filter is offline and 2 parts are received for its repair. Under the Bicentennial Park, the water department installed a new water fountain at the park. Under furnace at the water department building, the furnace requires replacement at the garage. Some quotes have been received, but their specifications are not equal. New quotes will be obtained that are specific to the type of heating system we need. Under Secretary's Report, Frances Hutchins rate reduction request. Mrs. Hutchins is a resident of the nursing home and her home is vacant. The Water Sewer Committee recommends that the town board reduce account number 59-0011950-0 to 25% of the current rate due to vacancy. And I would move that.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Thank you. Under Angela Crossman, rate reduction request. Mrs. Crossman has stated that their apartment has been vacant since 2009 due to damages from a prior tenant. The apartment is being rehabbed but will not be ready to be rented anytime soon. The Water Sewer Committee recommends the town board reduce account number 51001-8335-0 from 3 units to 2 1/4 units due to the vacancy of 1 unit. And I would offer that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. And the next Water Sewer Committee meeting will meet Tuesday, May 28 at 8:30 a.m. We adjourn at 3:13.
Good. Thank you. Operation Efficiency, the next meeting will be on May 23rd, 1 p.m. here in the office. Move on to Buildings and Grounds, Councilman Liliano.
Really? Okay. Excuse me 1 second, I'll put it up here, sorry. Buildings and Ground met April 16th. Present were myself, Steve Whitford, Tanya Thompson, Bill Dolbach, Sharon Reynolds, and our guest was Albert Pohorsnick. Albert questioned the liability of the B dam located above the intake of the hydro. Actually, it's below it when I looked at it today. We actually walked down there. As usual, this question, which has been raised before, has several different answers on the ownership from the DEC to the town of Ticonderoga. Its safety has been raised in the past. I'm wondering a lot if any of the board's direction would be in this. I guess it was 50 years ago the thing was fixed, was actually resurfaced. It's showing a lot of cracks. I don't think you could even get in there and do anything without 9 regulated people coming in there and saying, don't touch it, you know? I don't know what you do there.
We just got a letter from the DEC that had been...
Just inspected.
Yeah.
The B dam?
That's the way I took it.
Year or so?
Yeah, they wouldn't have...
And they think it's fine?
They
Was that the shoot?
They busted, yeah.
I'm not sure if it fell down and would do anything, but, you know. Okay, just, it's out there, but I don't know what you
But
would
is
do with
there
it.
any physical danger, Dave, to the people? I mean, Albert talked to me about it, and he said there's a hole that someone, like a sinkhole, someone could fall into. Is that?
That's on the property. We walked that today, and the hydro people were out there. So we went and visited with them for a little bit, and they gave me some names to talk to, but they don't think they own it. Albert has a tax map that shows they do own it. And, you know, I said, it's going to be a shame if a kid gets killed, that the attorneys figure out who owns it and who's liable.
Can we just barricade it in the time being?
No, not where they are. Really, you need to just fill them. You know, you need to get a load of stone or something and just pour it down one and reuse the rest on the other, and you could at least stabilize them for now.
I don't have any idea whose property they're on.
We've got to verify ownership. Because last year, the highway department filled in those holes. Washed out, but
Yeah.
Mike Perrin said that that was not town property, that was
It's
actually
not.
state land, but we filled in the holes anyway.
hydro. He has a tax map that shows it as hydro, and they talked about it.
Well, Hydro had a tax map that showed it was states.
Yeah.
State, so.
Should easily be done by looking at a deed.
Well, that's what we're talking about, yeah.
Deming. Oh, John.
So what's the pleasure of everybody?
We'll find out what We'll verify ownership. We'll send everybody letters.
And they're pretty big holes. A kid could go down them easy.
Yeah.
Easy. And you know, they put these stakes around them, which is like, come see what this is. You know, I walked, I said, oh, that's, you know.
How big a hole is it, Dave?
One's probably that big, and it probably goes down about 6 feet and then goes out, and there's a 30-foot wall that it exits out into that chute.
Could we borrow a sheet of plate steel from IP and cover it like that, the interim?
The problem is, what Albert said is that pipe is 50 feet long, and these sinkholes are, you're seeing where the pipe's deteriorating and breaking, and really it just needs to be pulled up and filled in.
I've seen this
I guess.
work too.
Yes, we could do that, we could cover it. I'm surprised the stone didn't work.
Didn't work. We'll have
Bigger stone.
Highway, my parent, cover it again to make sure,
Yeah.
secure it, make sure it's safe, and then get on.
Say something. What's causing the sinkholes?
There's a 50-foot pipe, there used to be a hydro there.
Right.
Yes.
The old hydro, way back a long time ago, and a 50-foot pipe comes down, around to the hydro, and then they exit through a wall out into the Lachute.
Yeah.
So one of them's where the pipe is, and the other one's at the exit into the Lachute, where the old structure was.
Gotcha.
So it's all on now.
Used to play there, man.
It's a beautiful spot, it needs a fence. I mean,
Just be there. But we'll have Mike Parent, have the highway guys address the safety issue.
yeah, Bob was with him, and he said, put hydro on notice legally, and they'll figure out who owns it really quick. He said, send them a letter from an attorney that says you're on notice that this is a danger and somebody can get killed here. And he says you'll probably get a response real fast.
It's not part of active infrastructure.
No.
They don't use it.
No,
It's the
no,
old
it's old,
part.
yeah.
It's not- Okay.
But they took it all over, so I don't know. It's close to where the hydro is.
Close to where the hydro is.
Well,
Where the intake is, you mean?
yeah, I guess it's on the other side of the B, it's on the other side of the A dam. Is that A dam up top? What's the
Way
top
up.
one called?
It's the V dam way up top, right?
No, I thought the B dam was the thing with the hole in it and the water runs over the side. That's what Albert said was the A dam.
That's the V dam.
Yeah, okay. I know. I had him take me up there because I didn't understand it a bit, but I do now. I'm thoroughly confused now. Okay. Do we want to have Matt draft a letter to Hydro? Is that a good idea? You got that? Do we need to vote on that, or no?
No, just-
Thanks, guys. Okay. The steps?
You want Mike to cover it, and then you want Matt to drop the letter.
I'd rather do the letter first. I'm a little, I'd like to put it off, a fence, snow fence, something.
A snow fence would work great, actually, and then put the stakes around it and
No trespassing.
Yeah.
And then, let's,
two snow fences, yeah,
yeah.
around both holes. Okay. I'm sure those guys know where they are because they put the stakes in the ground. They could attach the fence to them. The steps in front of this building needed to be repaired. Our town employee, Mike Cruikshank, had looked at them, and he believes they were able to stabilize the loosened steps. He has done that since then, right, Tanya? That's all finished and straightened out. The rest of the steps need to be looked at by a professional. Two companies were notified, DS Masonry and Luck Brothers. I put Luck Brothers, sorry. DS came out. They're working at Fort Ticonderoga. They do a lot of work there. And he came over and he looked at the whole building and made recommendations because I figure you have to fix it from the top down. He went on the roof, said the roof's been repaired, looks good. This is not where, right now he thought that all the cracks on the level where the steps are, the whole platform, you got to stop water from getting in there. So what he suggested was take the front steps and all the platform and rip all that stuff out and seal it correctly and stop the water from getting behind it, and you'll stop that problem. He came back with a bid. The bid is attached. His total bid to take all that stuff out and rework it and fill it, and he went through what the silicone and all the stuff was, he does this a lot, was $4,186. I didn't even get a response from the other company. What's the board's pleasure? I know it's my money, but I'd still like to know what the board's pleasure is.
I think it's a reasonable cost. Very reasonable.
He did the portico on the side, went up top where it comes off the judge's chamber and fixed all that, and even the bottom of that needs to be, that's where that's blowing out, is the bottom of it needs to be sealed like we're doing. But I want to get the front stabilized first when people come in and out. This is a lot, do we need to, it's $4,186, so it's out of procurement, right? Or is it just coming out of my budget for buildings and grounds?
Did you get just one quote, though? You just got the one quote?
Well, these other guys didn't answer, and we can't find anybody else that does this work. These people are good.
It's less than 10,
Like I said,
right?
I asked Fort Ty, and they said they do all the
It's
work.
less than 10,000, isn't it?
Yeah, and just document that you reached out to this company on
Okay.
such a date, and
Okay.
copies of emails or whatever you did.
Okay.
So that you did reach out for the second quote.
Just verbally wrote it down. Don't write it down.
Okay, and the $4,000 is okay to spend to fix it? As a board member. I didn't know because I was looking at the $1,500, but that's other people, right?
Once you get the information to Amy, and I will write you a purchase.
Okay, I have the quote. I'll get that to you. Okay. Appreciate that. That takes care of that. And then Afandre Architects still working on 2 proposals of space consolidation with an emphasis on the police. One is to build a complex of water, highway, police, everything out on the highway grounds that we were looking at. And the other is to bring the police here, the community building, relocate some of the present employees at the Armory. And we're expecting to get some of these proposals within a couple weeks. That looks more doable. I spoke to the school about the alternative high school, and with their cutbacks, they're probably going to have to move that back into the school. Whoever regulates the school doesn't really like the thing at the Armory, and because they're losing staff for the teachers, it's going to be easier for the teachers to do it in the school than come down to the Armory and do it. So we're probably going to have a lot of space up there available pretty quick if we needed to do something like that. So just out there. Are we allowed to do it? They're not considered kids, I know, don't even ask. Okay. The next meeting is May 14th, 2013 at 10 a.m. Anyone's invited to attend, please do. We get some good input from everybody. Thank you, that's all I got.
Thanks. Good report. Parks and Rec, Councilman Whitmer.
Oh, we met on April 2nd at 10:47 a.m. Meeting was called to order at 10:47. President, myself, Dave, Joyce Cooper, William Delbeck, and Sherilyn Reynolds. Others, John Bartlett, Tanya Thompson, Chris Maldonado, and Damon Jaquin. Chris and Damon spoke first, came in to speak about the basketball court. They asked if it would be possible to have the hoops fixed and the backboards straightened up. They also asked if the white lines could be repainted and if a trash can could be placed at the court. They also asked if it would be possible to have a bench placed on the court, and they said they would pick up the area in exchange. So we told them we would look into what we could. We're going to get the court painted, and the guys are looking at straightening up the poles. We may have to straighten those poles and the backboards up, but it may take having to re-weld them. So we're going to try to get them fixed up. Sharon Reynolds asked about several projects regarding lighting along the walkways and in the park. I told her I would speak to Dick. I went up and spoke to Dick, had given him approval to go ahead and fix the globes and the lights that are out. Tanya asked if the Parks and Recreation could use some women from the court that have been assigned to community service at about 126 hours each. Bill Dog stated that he was not happy about having a Parks and Recreation crew supervise women unless another female was doing the supervision. Tanya stated she did not do it for the town. Tanya stated she does it for the town and you don't have to be present all times. Bill said he disagreed, but anyway. Court-appointed individuals, though, I went up and checked, they do need to be supervised on a pretty much steady basis, according to the court. All their volunteers, though, if we had somebody to take them to a project, do the work, and whatnot, it was asked through the Parks and Recs, and I really think it's something town board should think of, having somebody set aside to handle volunteer requests. As to, like, people come in, they say, we've got volunteers to work in the park or here and there. I have no problem. If they come to Parks and Recs and say to me, I've already talked to Rich, what we're gonna do is they'll come to him and say what they've got it for, and then he'll try to set them up with one of our men to work with them. But as far as other sections in the town, we really need to have somebody that she can go to and set them up for that particular type of project. Volunteer workers.
Okay.
So I mean, I can do the Parks and Recs, but John asked to speak, and asked my parent, highway superintendent, would be able to pick up the trash for the school kids. He was advised that Mike had told him that he would not be available to watch over the use, and he did not have enough safety vests. Shortly after that, I spoke with Mike, asked him what the issue was. He said he would pick up the trash, which he did, but that he couldn't put his men rate on the job, watching them go down through pickup, because he didn't have enough safety vest and things. But they did go and pick up all the trash and stuff that was put out by the...
Bagged and ready for him.
Yes.
So that worked out well.
Joyce Cooper asked about bike racks for several locations. Sharon said she has 2 that just need to be placed, so Joyce is going to get back to us with placement locations, and the guys will see what they can do about that. Bill also stated he had a grant to purchase a bench for the Legacy Park. He also presented a list of cemetery projects for the summer. He also mentioned a grant being available to help for the dry out area of the park where it stays wet, where we have the vehicles come in during the summer for 4th of July, and it's wet in that one area. The county apparently does have a grant that's available. It's about $2,500, and taking a look at it, the plan's really pretty simple. I'm going to authorize them to go ahead and try to get that money in. I think the rest of it we can put in, it's crushed stone. You go down, dig it up 2 foot, put a sheet in, crushed stone, drainage pipe, crushed stone, and then a sheet over the top of it, and topside, and then we'll run a trench down through with vented pipe where it comes out by the road.
Right.
And that'll take care of all that wetness in that area. Meeting adjourned at 11:20 a.m. We're to meet again on the 6th at 10 a.m. But before I go there, we have several individuals I'd like to have. You had that motion for me? If not, I can just read their name. Motion to hire.
The first thing is we have 1 position open for groundskeeper at this time, so we want to create new positions. We'll need a resolution stating how many positions we want to create for labor and how many we want to create for groundskeeper. So we have 1 current position open. You want to fill that first?
Fill that position, yes.
So you want a resolution to hire Burgess Fields
To
at
fill
$10
that.
an hour as a
Yes.
part-time on-call groundskeeper?
Yep.
To fill a current vacant position.
Can I ask a question in regards to that? Is that to fill the...
I'll second it.
I'm sorry. Is that to fill a position that somebody is taking a leave of absence for?
No.
There's a vacant.
We actually have a vacancy. Bob Phillips resigned.
He went to work at the campsite.
Have the motion on the floor?
I'll second it.
More discussion?
Make a suggestion.
All in favor?
Is-
Do you want more discussion on this?
Well, when Burgess left, he was a little more than that, right? I mean, I'm showing what was sent to me. That's what he was making when he was here before, and
Yeah, pretty loud.
okay.
I don't feel that, others would love to come back. We didn't give them the rate they left at.
Okay, I'm just looking
I
at,
just want to create
out of this
a...
whole thing, we got 1 guy.
He's good
And I
with
know
it?
for sure it's gonna come, and if he gets upset, he won't. Because we're not sure about him, he's not coming,
He's
these
not-
3
he's
aren't
not coming.
qualified.
They can be hired as laborers.
Okay.
Burgess did an excellent job.
Yes.
And plus he
And-
maintained tremendous amount of maintenance on the
That's what the
equipment.
guy said. that we-
Yeah.
Yeah, they were in.
He knows how to work on the
Yeah.
equipment. He's a good employee.
Specialty.
Did you give him his grade, Steve? Come on. If you okay his grade, then if he has experience.
Oh, he fixes all the
As
equipment,
long
and
as-
they said they give him an area and he does it.
There was no question about salary.
Yeah.
So we told him what everybody was starting at. He didn't have a problem with it.
$10 an hour.
Okay, okay, Steve, I'm just asking, that's fine.
And then we had interviewed, was it 5 or 6 others?
You didn't do an all in favor for that one, if you want to finish up that resolution.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is that unanimous?
Yes.
Everybody? Okay.
I am.
And then Steve's proposing 2 additional groundskeepers and 4 laborers positions. So I need a resolution to create 2 part-time on-call groundskeepers and for part-time on-call laborers.
Reason for this is we've ended up having a lot of extra work put onto the guys with different projects. And then again, they're also falling back into use, working with other parts of the town. So it's cheaper to have enough people available than not to have enough.
But they're not all going to be working the walls, just
no,
as necessary?
As necessary.
Have a pool?
And for the first 2 weeks here, once they're hired and pass their physicals and stuff, they're going to be working, because I'll tell you, the guys are behind because they're only down to 4 people right now.
Yeah. Do we, budget-wise, are we okay with that?
Yes, we're fine. We're way within our budget.
Because you're limiting their hours
Yep.
to 24.
We've already, Rich and I have gone over the budgets and everything. We look good that way, and we'll actually be saving money by having more than having less. And do you have the names?
First, we have to create the position.
Okay, I'll move that we create the positions.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? Create the position as laborers.
2 part-time on-call additional laborers and 4 part-time on-call laborers.
2
groundskeepers, I'm sorry.
Any more discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
One opposed? And also, these hour restrictions were put into effect because of the
Basically, the Obamacare.
national health care and insurance
Now,
forcing us to keep our hours down.
I have talked to Rich, I've told him that where there is an issue of something's got to be done, they can take it up to 28, but that's the limit, and nothing's to ever go over that amount. But we'll be mostly coming in around 24 hours.
Which is well below the newly imposed
Yes.
full-time of what, 30?
30 hours.
30 hours.
It's actually 29, but isn't it 29 or 30?
It's 30, but the town hasn't done a final calculation of this yet.
Yep.
Sorry about this cough, guys. I don't know where it comes from.
So are we all set?
Started upstairs.
Yeah, I got a first, second, one opposed. That carries.
So now we would need a resolution to hire for the position of part-time on-call groundskeeper, Earl Harrington, and Eugene Altieri. Do you want to do them all each separately, or do you want everything?
I would do them all at once.
Which is it, junior or?
Junior.
Junior?
Not.
Okay, so on-call part-time groundskeeper Earl Harrington, and on-call part-time groundskeeper as Eugene Altieri Jr. at $10 an hour. And then for on-call part-time laborer, we have Richard Bissett. We have Richard Holmberg Jr., Ronnie Burrows, and Thomas Allen.
Make that motion. All of the individuals have pretty fair records and everything, no criminal records, so. And they've all done this type of work.
Wayne, did you second?
I second that, yeah.
Discussion?
Tom Allen, Eugene Altieri, they're not on my list of anybody I...
We lost Jason, and we added in the other two, one on top of the...
Did you all interview these guys?
What,
They were interviewed?
I didn't interview them.
No,
Okay.
we had one as the employee and the other came and talked with us.
Can you hire somebody without an interview?
Yes, you don't have to have an interview, it's only courtesy.
That's a policy decision if you're asking me.
I am asking.
Yeah, policy.
I'm just curious, Steve, they didn't come in when we interviewed everybody.
No, Eugene Altieri, we didn't feel we need to because he's a past employee.
In our policy manual for the non-union employees, there's a statement of the policy, there's application examinations, there's the position vacancies, there's screening, there's selection, which includes interviewing and reference check. And then there's the hiring authority of the town board.
there's your policy.
So they have to be interviewed, right? They just weren't on my list, that's why I'm
Well,
asking.
then we'll hold on one, do the interview.
You want to do
Take
the other
every
one?
2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do the other.
Eugene Altieri, I'd like to keep on because he was a past employee. It had the experience.
But it's a new hire.
He left, he come,
Whatever your policy is.
Well, so was Burgess, but we interviewed him, right? Burgess was a past employee, wasn't he?
but does it say you have to have the interview?
Part of the employment policy, it's in section 405, section interviewing and reference checking. And then the 406 is the hiring authority of the town board. You want to take a look at it? That's part of the whole thing. whether-
Just don't want to get hung up in a legal thing. I'll do whatever is legal. I know we need the people, there's no doubt about that. In 2 weeks, we can have these guys interviewed in 2 weeks, we can have the next meeting, right?
Hope so, because we need
Plus,
them bad.
we still can use any community service person that comes along to help with these, right?
Not on mowing. Might be able to use them on a trimmer, but not mowers.
Okay.
That's why I was looking toward the experience, and now we can move them along. I read it, I didn't think it was mandatory. It's a courtesy.
Yeah, you don't differentiate between part-time and full-time, right? All applications for employment shall be filed.
I read it 3 times.
Yeah.
Let's see if I read it.
That's why I asked for legal, because I didn't understand it when I read it. Yeah. So these guys, we knew were not qualified, they were just going into a labor pool,
Labor
right?
pool,
Okay, okay. And then you can get them qualified after a year, right?
Yeah, Jason got a 40-hour job.
Oh, yeah, well, and that's a shame because he was a young guy, because we need some people to run weed eaters.
Yeah, but he needs money bad. They're in bad shape.
I don't blame him, I'm just saying, we need somebody running.
After this, we're going to go right into airport.
That's fine.
And I have senior notes from the senior meeting.
Yeah, but I did a report, did you see the report?
No.
You could jump in with the notes. I did do a report on seniors, you know. You don't have to worry if I mess it up, because Ann will whoop me. I know. She's sitting right there, I know I'll be in trouble, so.
She can hear you.
I'm looking for an exemption.
Yeah, mine is short, and then Deb, I'll have you jump in. Is that okay?
That's fine. Follow that policy.
Interview him? Okay, not a problem.
It's great in there.
We'll call them
I
in
don't see any
tomorrow.
exemption for part-time employees, except, this applies except for part-time.
Okay.
So they need to resend it and then do a new one.
I rescind
Not
my second.
including the two. Fine.
It didn't even pass yet.
Okay.
So you can have a
We'll be
motion
hiring
to
everybody
amend that
except the 2
resolution.
individuals that need to be interviewed.
What you do is have a motion to amend that resolution to remove the 2.
Yep.
And then as amended.
I make that a motion. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Carries. One opposed. So it's amended.
I gotta find it first. Bring it from home. I hope it can.
Do you want me to comment, or you
That's your choice.
Well, I don't know what you're thinking unless you tell me.
I'll do a little bit of economic development, a little bit. The economic development, it's not due, the quarterly meeting isn't due, but there are efforts going on in the community. The Ticonderoga Cultural Arts Committee has come out with a wonderful calendar of summer extravaganza events, all arts and culture related, arts, music, theater, dance. They're still working on the mural program, which would be on the side of the barber shop building closest to Jay's. They're working on that, trying to find recruits, either this high school or local artists, working out those kinks. Part of the cultural arts extravaganza. May 16th, I wanted to remind you, I think I've got an invitation later. Taste of Thai at the Best Western. They've also sent an invitation to the board members, inviting the board to the fundraiser. They'd like to see as many as possible. We'd like to do that. Anyway, a variety of programs going on they're starting through the July 1st events right through August. And remembering that the cultural arts is a umbrella organization for doing promotion and support of all of our local organizations, like the Best Fourth in the North, the Festival Guild, the Ticonderoga Alumni, Hancock House, Heritage Museum. So they've got a wonderful schedule of cultural events going on. The Ticonderoga Main Street, Montcalm Street Partnership, I went to that meeting, actually that was just yesterday. And let's see, just as a heads up, they're sponsoring the cleanup day, Saturday the 11th. They're also working on an electronics recycling opportunity for the town. Promotions, this year's street art will be, remember we had the soldiers and then the Adirondack chairs and the birdhouses. This year they're going to do park benches. So that they'll look nice up and down the street. Plus there'll be good auction items for September. Street Fest is August 27th. This is the 5th Street Fest coming up. It's proving to be the biggest and best so far, with music and food and arts and crafts. WOKO will be there. Let's see, Best Fourth in the North, that's a wonderful committee as well. They raised about $27,000. Most of that goes right into, the fireworks are over $17,000. So they're doing a coin drop fundraiser June 22nd and 23rd, and if the board members would like to help participate, even just for an hour, to help raise some of those funds.
May 23rd, Debbie?
June 22nd, 23rd, so there's a good heads up. Saturday 8 to 3, Sunday 8 to 1. It's just 1 hour increments. If you could help a little bit, they raise a tremendous amount of money for this wonderful 4th of July event. And so any support we could offer them would be greatly appreciated.
Even if we might hurt you more than we'd help you?
What? What did he say?
Even if we might hurt you more than we'd help you. We better find a telephone pole to stand behind, that's all I gotta say. I was thinking concrete pole.
Yeah, so those are just some highlights. I've got a little more of a report in my supervisor's report at the end of the meeting on our economic development related trip to Alfred School of Applied Technology. So,
Great.
yeah,
That's cool.
it was very, very cool. So we'll go to the airport, Steve.
Okay, well, apparently my email sent it, when I sent it to Tanya, didn't get through. My other one did, but that's okay. I pretty much remember what we had. Our meeting was Tuesday, 9 o'clock. I was present. John, Hancock, Ernie, Tobin.
I was there.
You were there. Dave showed up. And we dug, basically, I'll tell you, our airport meeting is a discussion.
It's fun.
We go through different things discussing. We discussed pricing that went up there, the new board that we put up. Tanya also was gracious enough for us and did up a whole pile of the contract agreements in envelopes that I took up and put in the pilot's room. We also now are going to have a small card. Apparently I didn't bring with me, but Tommy knows what I'm talking about. It's going to be up there so that, let's say a plane comes in, it's in for just there now, they can pin it to the tie-down rope with an envelope so that they can pay their tie. It's an honorary system, but trying to collect just a little bit more for the airport as we go along. We discussed the new fuel tank locations and with what plans we have. And we had some other questions, so I'm trying to see if we can get a hold of Jim, maybe get him up here next month to sit down with us before everything's concrete, because we're pretty close to getting the final okay to go ahead with this. A couple of our concerns is how they'll be swiping their card. Will it be open to the weather, or will it be an enclosed unit that they swipe the card and do everything and then they close it back up? We also were concerned as to its containment. It is a double walled inside a tank perimeter, but we have a few questions on that. We discussed getting a sanitary room up there in the back, which would be a holding tank with 2 restrooms out behind the
You have to have
hangars. Yeah, we gotta have one.
a restroom.
Not quite as decorative as the one before, but, so we're gonna be working on that. There've been some questions about lengthening the airport. I sent a thing out to Jim, and I do know that one of the things he replied to me on is that will be something that we will have to probably show a necessity for. So it's just another thing that, throw it out there, because as Dave said, if you're gonna have any kind of service individuals providing a service, retail or whatnot, we're just not long enough. Close, but, and we do have the room to do it. So we're looking into that, anything we can to try to generate more revenue at the airport. Last thing that I have on tap is I gotta go up and see Mr. Lurkey's and see if he'll let several of us go over. We're gonna go over and remove the old beacon from that piece of property. Bring it in, see what it would take to repair that one. We've come under the knowledge that we may not have to have a beacon. So it's not something that we have to rush right into. It's something we can take some time with verifying and go from there. I think that pretty much does it. Oh, one other thing. I need to get in touch with Jim. When the guys did the fence up, it looks terrible. It's a stitch job. They should have pulled the fence up to the pipe and clamped it the way it's supposed to be clamped. And you wouldn't see this. It looks like they took heavy wire and just pulled together and in.
Who did the work?
Peckham. So I'm going to see if we can get them back up there to fix that particular issue. If not, we may have to fix it ourselves. I also had a report that the gate wasn't working. The individual showed up, spent 2 hours up there, had me sit down and run me through the whole compartment unit to know how to repair the thing. And I have been called to go and repair it on my own time.
I got you on speed dial now.
Yes, you do. That's it. And unless I can get a hold of Jim for next month, we won't be meeting again until July. August, that's right. We'll be meeting before then, though.
Good, thank you. Highway compact recycling, Councilman Cook.
Had a meeting April 30th. Present were John Deming, Mike Parent, Farley Ezzo, Wayne Taylor, myself, guest Dave Giuliano. Mike started the meeting off by advising the committee that the new Western Star truck had arrived at Arrowhead Equipment. There it will be outfitted with the plows and dump box and related equipment. He stated he expects to have the truck here within approximately 30 days. He went down to look it over and explained to them how he wanted it set up for the controls So that way it'll be set up similar to the newer trucks that he has for the sake of uniformity. Mike stated that the tractor bids will be going out on May 1st, as well as the planer bid. And Carla, do you have information on that?
Do you have it?
That's it.
Okay.
I can,
Okay. So, I'd like to offer a resolution to purchase a Kubota M5140 FC two-wheel drive tractor. Let's see, just a moment here. You have the portion with the trade-in and the dollar figures. I got it, okay, right here. So, let me read the whole thing. Okay, it's up to you. Okay, resolution approving and consenting of the purchase of a Kubota M5140 FC two-wheel drive tractor. Whereas the highway superintendent of the town of Ticonderoga has publicly bid the purchase of a Kubota M5140 FC two-wheel drive tractor to be purchased from Salem Farm Supply. And whereas the purchase price of the Kubota M5140 FC two-wheel drive tractor has been determined to be in the amount not to exceed $28,400, less the trade-in of a 1984 Ford 6610 with more and a 1974 John Deere 310 tractor, determined to have had a value of $9,100. Therefore leaving a net cost of $19,300. And whereas the town intends to partially pay for the Kubota M5140 FC two-wheel drive tractor with $11,300 of the reserve funds held in the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, which fund was created pursuant to Section 6C-5B of the General Municipal Law. And whereas the Highway Superintendent has prepared an order dated May 9th, 2013, authorizing the expenditure of said funds from the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, a copy of which is attached hereto. And now therefore be it resolved that Section 1, in accordance with General Municipal Law, Section 6C-5B, the town hereby approves of and consents to the purchase of the Kubota M5140 FC two-wheel drive tractor, and further approves and consents to the expenditure from the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. Section 2, the town hereby authorizes the payment in the amount of $8,000 from the 2013 highway equipment budget, plus an amount not to exceed $11,300 from the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, for a total purchase price of $19,300. This is a Type 2 action under secret regulations pursuant to 6 NYCRR Section 617.5C25, and therefore does not require secret review. The town hereby finds that such an expenditure is subject to permissive referendum pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 6-C4. The town hereby authorizes and directs the town clerk to post and publish notice of the expenditure authorized by this resolution in accordance with Town Law, Section 90. In accordance with Section 91 of the Town Law, said expenditure shall not be made prior to the expiration of 30 days of the adoption of this resolution, provided a petition meeting the requirements of Section 91 of Town Law is not filed with the town clerk. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
I'll second that.
Councilman Taylor, second. More discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Let's talk about the meeting over the cleaner.
Okay. Had a resolution to award a bid to Bobcat of Saratoga for one 18-inch planer. It's a high-flow 18-inch fast-cut all-purpose drum. The bid proposal is $14,997. $0.98. Resolution to award the bid to Salem Farm Supply. No, excuse me, that was it. I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
More discussion, this is what, the planer?
This is the planer that goes on the Bobcat. It's
They patch holes, they make the holes a definitive shape for a hole when they patch. They can,
used for potholes. For instance, when they have to dig up the road, instead of having a jagged edge, it makes the cement or the asphalt adhere better.
it's an attachment that is on the Bobcat. It is on the front of the Bobcat they got now. As opposed to use a broom, they have different things they put on it. It's a different attachment.
We got a truck, we got 2 tractors, we got a planer.
This was in his budget that we talked about when
Yeah.
the budget was made.
Does he have a thing out there for paving or for some of the work in town, or is
Yeah.
he addressed? Okay, good, you're gonna go there.
And this is the not a prerequisite, but for small scale paving, this will help them.
Okay.
Because preparation is the most important part of a paving job, is getting it ready ahead of time, cleaning it, and having it.
The line painting bid will probably be in the paper next week and to bid that out.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
So moved.
Been there, done that.
Okay. Mike stated that he wanted the bids for blacktopping broken down by operation. For example, daily rate for a paver operator, screed operator, roller, and roller operator. After discussion, it was determined that the bid should be done on a total daily rate for all of the above as needed. Wayne and I again reiterated that it must be stated in the bid that the water must flow to the catch basins. We'd had a serious issue with that. Wayne asked if any of the crew would consider paving again themselves, and Mike replied that when they last did pave, they had twice as many employees as well as a village crew. Mike advised he needs to move a couple catch basins on Wayne Avenue prior to paving that. He would also like to place a catch basin at the bottom of 3rd Avenue and run the runoff that comes down that roadway to the beginning point of the newly installed drainage system. This would help alleviate an issue on the corner of Hines, or help alleviate it anyways, on the corner of Hines Street and St. Clair that we have. Sand and gravel bids were open the day before the meeting, but were unavailable at the time of the meeting, but I do have those. And I would suggest, or make a motion to go with option 1, I believe it is, for the town truck, to truck it loaded by the company for screen sand to Armstrong. Run a bank.
Peckham.
Yeah, run a bank gravel sand to Peckham. Crushed stone, I'll give you numbers. Screen sand was $250 from Armstrong. Run a bank gravel and sand is $175. I believe these are all yard by yard. Crushed stone, $8.90 to Armstrong. Item 4, $3.75 or $3.75 a yard. That would be to Armstrong. Cobblestone to Armstrong at $3.90. Beach sand to Armstrong at $6.50. Screened topsoil to Armstrong at $20 a yard. And overburden at $4 a yard. Peckham had the same bid as Armstrong for item 4. And my understanding is that if it's not available from Armstrong, then we could get it from Peckham for the same price. The run a bank and item 4 were the only 2 items in that portion that Peckham bid on. Okay. Option 2 is the town trucks it, the town operator using the company's loader. Armstrong was at $2.50 again for screen sand. I'll do that. Run a bank, gravel and sand was Peckham at $1.70 a yard. Crushed stone to Armstrong at $8.90 a yard. Item 4 to Peckham at $3.60 a yard. Cobblestone at $3.90 a yard to Armstrong. Beach sand at $6.50 a yard to Armstrong. Screen topsoil, $20 a yard to Armstrong, and overburden, $4 again to Armstrong.
But the difference between the options being who loads what. And who trucks
Exactly,
it, right?
exactly.
Who provides the loader, who operates that loader.
Exactly. The third option is using town truck with a town operator and a town loader, which would require us bringing our equipment up there. Armstrong is a low bidder at $2.25 a yard for screen sand. Peckham was low at run a bank gravel and sand at $1.60 a yard. Crushed stone, Armstrong had $8.50 a yard. Item 4, Peckham had $3.40 a yard. Armstrong had $3.65 a yard for cobblestone. Beach sand, Armstrong had $6.25 a yard. Topsoil was $19.50 a yard at Armstrong, and overburden was $3.75 a yard at Armstrong. The fourth option is the company loads it and delivers it themselves. The town doesn't deal with that. Armstrong had screen sand at $7.50 a yard. Actually, he's the only one that bid on any of that. Run a bank gravel and sand at $6.75 a yard. Crushed stone at $13.50 a yard. Item 4 at $8.75 a yard. Cobblestone at $8.90 a yard. Beach sand, $11.25 a yard. Screen topsoil, $24.50 a yard. And overburden, $9 a yard. I'll make a motion that we accept it.
Do you want to second that?
I'll second it. Has the highway superintendent, has he gone over that? That's all good with him? Yeah, okay.
I'll start with that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. So moved.
Mike stated he was going to run off the county bid for large-scale milling of streets. Mike informed the committee that the large mowing tractor recently purchased is working exceptionally well. He stated that it is approximately twice as efficient as the previous tractor for mowing, stating that an area that had taken a full day to mow now takes 3 hours to complete. He attributes this to the size of the mower and the condition of it. And this is to, I guess, accentuate the purpose of having a large-scale mower doing a lot of work with one person. It's proven that it works. Mike stated he is presently sweeping for the state and will be assisting the town of Hague soon in consideration of their assistance when needed. He stated that he's done work on the Birnbaum Road and will be closing a portion of it from the crest of it to an area east of this due to extensive reoccurring erosion. Discussion was had regarding whether it should be abandoned or qualified abandoned, and further discussion will need to follow to address this. Wayne asked that 3 no pedestrian signs were needed for the airport, and Councilman Whitford will be contacted regarding this. Did he, Mike, get a hold of you on that, Steve?
I'm the one that got a hold of Mike.
Okay, you got a hold of him, okay. 2 areas on Montcalm Street were discussed regarding handicap parking. One of these at the intersection of Champlain Avenue near Glens Falls Bank. The other was across from the furniture store. Both of these need to be properly marked to be enforceable. In regards to the area near the Glens Falls Bank, it had been, I don't recall exactly who had requested it, but they had requested on Champlain Avenue on the grade to put a handicap parking area there. We discussed it, and there had, in fact, been a handicap parking spot in front of the bank. That sign had been removed and it had not been remarked. I believe it's still on the law that it's still in place there. It needs to be marked and properly signed. The other handicap location across from the furniture store, in order to be enforced, needs to be signed properly for the police to be able to deal with that.
What's signed properly, Jeff? What's that?
The markings on the roadway are optional in a handicap zone, unless it's changed. You have to have an actual road sign, have a sign saying handicap parking on a post.
So we have to hammer a sign to the concrete that says handicap parking.
You have to attach one, yes, in order to make it enforceable. That's the way the law works.
Above and beyond the blue painted
The blue paint
indicator.
is, at least was an option. That alone does not delineate a handicap parking space.
That's unbelievable.
There had been a sign in front of the bank in the past. Who took it down? I
remember we did all that stuff. Okay, because nobody likes a sign in the middle of the sidewalk.
Highway took them down. So highway needs to put them back up.
They're in the middle of the sidewalk, yeah.
They took it down because they hampered the...
Okay, under miscellaneous, discussion was had regarding drainage issues on Mount Hope Avenue where a landowner has concern for runoff coming onto his property and wants to move a portion of drainage from natural drainage to the catch basin system. Farley had grave concern for the capacity available to do this. They're going to look into this and see what they can do. The catch basins and the drainage system needs a great deal of work. Wayne asked regarding the depth of catch basins on Mount Hope Avenue specifically, if they were going to be raised to the level of the roadway, and Mike advised that this road has a large crown to it, and it is his intention to make this much more level when he is able to do so. He would then be able to determine the correct heights of the catch basins. Discussion was had regarding the generally poor condition of many of the catch basins. I asked regarding the instance where a catch basin is elevated above the roadway and asked what could be done to rectify it. Discussion was had again regarding moving piping from the area of Alexandria Avenue, in the Portage, into the recently installed Alexandria Avenue drainage system. This may help to alleviate some of the issues people were having downstream from there.
Down to Howie Rapids there. There's a big bottleneck in the stormwater collection. Town workers under the tracks down the Alexandria School or the apartment house there.
Hopefully that'll help.
We can take some of the flow out of that and put it into that 30-inch collector that we ran across Alexandria a number of years ago.
So that way we'll be at least trying to address those issues of those people in that area. Farley advised that some of the catch basins around Cannonball Path area are in poor condition, despite being relatively new. He noted extreme deterioration of one of them in particular, where he had to put an oversized cover on it. In discussion, they feel that the issue of that being an old mill yard over there and stuff like that, and possibly the acidic soil may be damaging these. Mike and Farley were asked to construct a list of the catch basins which are in poor condition and to provide a prioritized listing considering the flow received and importance to the overall drainage system of what needs to be replaced. This may be able to be done this summer when the catch basins are scheduled to be mapped in conjunction with the Water and Sewer Department. We need to take this data and provide direct funding to deal with this issue. We're spending much money on putting work into the sewer plant, and we need to get water out or the plain water out of it. Farley again brought the issue of excessive flooding at the intersection of St. Clair Street and Hines Street. Landowner near there needs to be contacted regarding this issue. It was suggested that Mike Parent and Tracy Smith work together. to alleviate this dilemma. Question was again brought up that the town needs to enact an ordinance regarding the filling in a property where it impacts a municipal infrastructure. This has been discussed at the water and sewer meetings previously and needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. I would like to ask that Mr. Fuller research that.
I won't say it that way. We could probably pull that part out of the zoning.
And that may very well
It
be.
was pretty good in there. But yeah, I would agree. I've been over there, and you're going to keep coming into these issues.
Absolutely.
When people fill property, there's a common law solution, and you don't necessarily always want to have to adopt more laws. When you fill property to the detriment of your neighbors, there can be legal ramifications to that. And when you do that to the detriment of the town, there can be legal ramifications to that as well. You can't wash out a town road or flood a town road. This is the one area that's down gradient from Lowe's, Walmart in there. I was there. And that's a classic example. You can't bring the level of your property up to cast stormwater so that it ponds.
Right.
But the way to address that is before it happens.
Right.
And so a lot of municipalities are falling under what's called the MS4S program. It's a stormwater program that the state has funneled down from EPA. Ticonderoga has since been spared that, but I think it's been ratcheted down over the last decade. A lot of the municipalities on the southern end of the basin are subject to it. It was based by population, and I think you're going to find that eventually you're going to be subject to that stormwater regulation. So getting that in place, now I can give you some options, and it will save you from dealing with it later on. Because you're going to keep having these issues.
Yeah. Thank you. Discussion was had regarding the proposed parking area across from the old train station here. Some miscommunication had occurred, and it appears that this is progressing. Wayne asked if Mike could afford to pave Warner Hill Road. He stated that before the village incorporated into the town were able to pave 5 miles a year. He has nowhere near this amount of money anymore, and he must now do the former village also with less money. He noted a number of streets that are in need of paving, but does not have the funding to do so. As we discussed at the meeting, Warner Hill is in very bad shape. We need to somehow figure out what we can do with it.
4.5, 5 miles, about $100,000 a mile is what it runs to do a 2-inch. That's what it was the last time when we did Burgoyne Road extension. The bike used to sit up there. It's what it ran, around $100,000 a mile. But the thing is, though, I said to it at the time, I just can't see spending money on roads and then you don't put a load rating on a max load. I mean, these heavy trucks just pulverize that blacktop.
And because being a hill, as much as it is, it's that much more difficult on it.
Yeah.
Okay, discussion was had regarding the road work anticipated on Dead Man's Turn on Route 9N north of Route 74 intersection. Mike is very concerned over the extensive wear the Charbonneau and Delano roads will incur because of this. It was stated that it's imperative that the state DOT ensure traffic is routed to the Shore Airport Road. We discussed that also. We'd like to see if there's some way that we can ensure that this traffic isn't going over Charbonneau Road as much as we can. I don't know if we can put a temporary weight limit on it or something to that effect. It'll destroy the Charbonneau Road at least, and it's not going to be good for the Delano Road.
They'll be using Delano as a shortcut too.
How would we go about doing
DOT's going to do that?
DOT is doing this.
Is that the turn?
Yeah, the curve going north.
Yeah.
No,
Dead Man's
before.
Turn?
Before there.
Yeah.
You see
When you
the
drop down
equipment
there,
in
you have to go around.
I haven't been there, but I know where
Yeah.
that bend is though.
Dips down and makes a turn.
I guess when are they going to start it?
The 20th of this month. Yes.
Yeah.
20th.
There's a sign blinking in town when you drive through that tells you it's going to be shut down.
And they're going
I
to
believe
reroute
it's-
that traffic over? Town highway?
No, but the problem is the closest route for everything is
Okay, sure.
over to town, or a town road and a county road.
Path of least resistance?
Exactly. They're going to route traffic, detour traffic over the Shore Airport Road.
They put the
But that was
proper
gonna
signing up.
preclude things from going over either of the two before that. So do you have a suggestion on how to deal with that?
They've also changed the speed limit on Delano Road
45.
to 40, 45?
45.
It's in my report.
Who changed that?
DOT.
DOT.
Yeah, we requested, we did a resolution requesting it, there was a person asked.
So you can look into that then?
When did you do that?
A couple years ago.
Must have been.
It
I don't
takes a
know.
long time.
I was going to say,
Yes.
He just got the sign, so just,
Okay, Dave Giuliano asked that the apron at the entrance to the senior center be repaved. Mike stated this would be a good use of the Miller he anticipates getting. Next meeting is May 28th at noon.
Good, thank you. Human Services, youth, seniors.
okay, I'll start with the seniors, met April 17th. President Jan Putnam and Dolbeck, about 15 members. Guests were Supervisor Deb Merlini and Mary Bryant. I want to thank Deb for stepping in at the last minute. I had something come up, and I appreciate her helping me out. Supervisor Merlini, and I'm taking this from Ann's report, so Supervisor Merlini made the seniors with homes aware of the need to have backup insurance in place in the event of a sewer problem. You're probably going to hear us talk about this quite a bit, folks, because you need to do this. Everybody does. Articles in the Times of Ties should also warn people about this problem. Guest speaker Mary Bryant from Cornwall Extension spoke about arthritic exercise, and she stressed better health gives better living. That's kind of cool. Ann Dolbeck explained the NAEIR program for overstock warehouse products that allows not-for-profit organizations to purchase for free, so they got quite a few magazines on that. The senior bus last month traveled 1,498 miles. It carried 248 people for the month of April, and it used 259 gallons of fuel. Okay? I've had a talk with the seniors. Basically, it's a gallon every time somebody gets on this thing. Okay? We're going to have to figure out how to alter how we use this. They are already working on it. They're taking this and they're working on it, and they're looking at being a little more efficient on how the bus runs. So I'm going to let them go with this because they're better at this than me, and they're very good at it. So I thank them for jumping in and helping me with this. The next senior meeting is May 15th at the Armory, and Deb, you were there. To have anything on
No,
this
that
stuff?
pretty much covered it. The only thing that I didn't see was, I was a little surprised to find the number of seniors that were not aware they could buy their dump tickets at the dump with a check.
Yeah.
Somebody brought that up, and they were all pretty happy to find out that they could. So, which tells me we should probably put another notice, reminder in paper, let people know that they can pay by check. That's it.
Okay. Go on the youth. We'll be a little longer winded on this one.
Bus driver or no?
Senior bus driver. We're short.
Did you want to act on the vacancy tonight?
The gentleman? At what rate?
That's up to you. Or do you want to advertise? What do you,
Advertise, cut down the hours on it until Sue's, yeah.
Sue's
I've
out.
already talked to Ann about that, and she knows, so she's going to help us with that because we got to get the hours down now. Even if we advertise, we're still a couple weeks out, right? Getting another driver on that?
you're a month or so now?
Yeah. We did have a gentleman who drives for Essex County. He lives in Tyone Amherst Avenue. He has expressed an interest. Do you have his name?
Robert Bush. He's currently works for the Essex County, already has his qualifications, already has physical drug testing all through there. He's willing to help out on call basis for us, for the senior bus. Because we acted on a resignation of the substitute we had.
I see.
We're filling in with another town employee right now.
But our hours are getting way up, so we've got to do something. That prompted another reason to spoke with Ann about trying to do something with the bus.
And the one that we're using right now is not available for 2 days next week, so we would have to discuss not having the bus operating for 2 days next week, and then a week in July, if possibly our full-time driver's not back yet.
And we have no other bodies available to try that, to fill in.
Well, I have expressed to Rich Holmberg, who's in charge of your groundskeeping crew, if we maybe could use one of his workers. I've expressed that to him twice, and I have not gotten a response. The first time I asked him, he came back and I said, hey, have you talked to anybody? He said, I haven't seen them. So I haven't gotten any response from them.
Do they need a CDL license to drive that?
No, they do not. And I think we've utilized one of the groundskeepers in the past when we got really stuck in a situation where the bus wasn't going to run.
Because probably right now, though, he's so bound up.
Right, the problem is now that they're telling Steve they're so short-staffed that...
Tanya, you ever drive a bus? So, do we want to offer this person up as a candidate?
That or do you want to advertise, or?
How about both? Can we do both?
Direction.
Well, let's do both. Since he's qualified and has the physical and has the drug testing, he's pretty much ready to go if he wants to. I know we have to discuss that, but I would move this gentleman get approved as a driver for our senior bus. Is that how that works?
Yeah, and our starting rate is $10 an hour. He makes more than that at the county.
Significantly more than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He makes $13.61 at the county. So what do you want to offer? The tenancy if he takes it, or?
Well, a part-time employee making $13 an hour is probably way ahead of a full-time employee making 10, so.
Absolutely.
What's the wishes of the board? We just talked about this.
I paid him what he's worth.
What is that more, that's not more than your full-time driver's making, is it?
Yes.
So, it is.
But with benefits, it's not.
No, I know.
What do our full-time drivers get?
$11.60.
Let's see if we can offer him $11.60. If I need to negotiate, is that okay with the board? Let's start there, and if we need to move on it, you and I can work on that. Okay? Sound good? Sure. So moved. Okay. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All in favor?
Yes. Anything else, Carla?
Then you want a resolution to advertise for on-call part-time senior bus driver. Starting rate $10 an hour.
So moved.
Second?
Is that okay, Carla? Did you get that, Tanya? You want me to actually say it?
No, you don't want me to say what I'm thinking.
You gonna make the motion?
Oh, God, never do I want you to say what you're thinking.
I'll second his motion.
Okay?
Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries.
And I just suggest to leave that open, not a certain deadline on it, because we always could use someone on a sub-list.
If it's winter, then you could fill in with the grounds people. But this time of year, they're everything they can do just to cut lawns. Okay, that's it for seniors? We okay with that? Yep. We'll get some more people in. Youth Commission met April 15th. Present were myself, Tanya Thompson, Marge Herbert, Sue Eustace, Carla Vigalotti, John Bartlett, Dan Cross, Pam Mosier, sorry I spelled her name wrong, Trish Stonish, and Hella Benedict. Work continues on the Code of Conduct for employees and students. Another meeting the following Monday. Quite a few people came in and really helped us start to narrow down how we want this thing to look for coaches, youth directors, the students. Maybe even they actually have parents' Code of Conducts now, so we're looking at it. And we're trying to get it together and then get it to that and see if it makes sense. Background checks are still being looked into. I haven't visited with Mark, but these things are quite expensive when they're done correctly. We're trying to figure out alternatives, and I was going to actually ask Mark if he might be able to stop in at one of our youth meetings for a few minutes and just talk to us about that, to get a better understanding of that, how that thing works, and direction with the legal issues. So if you can do that, Mark, that would be great. May 18th is a CPR class at the Methodist Church. It's $20 a person, and you would get in touch with Pam if you wanted to get involved with that. I just went completely past what I was doing, don't mind me. Marge has gotten permission from Sister Sharon to use their playground area, and so we need to send out parental permission slips. so the kids can go over there to use that, but Sister Sharon's been great. Several groups have expressed an interest in the Armory for July and August months when Silver Bay is not there. Speaking to the group and after having talked to our attorney and looking at the contract, it shows no provisions for this. So since Silver Bay rents the facility year-round and it has not been provided in the contract, it was an oversight on our part, which we could correct in the next contract next year. So, but for now, we're not going to use that thing July and August. Here we go. The town has received many requests to look into the summer program that we had several years ago. We talked about this last month. John Bartlett, Mike Mascarenas, and I, and Carla. We looked into the finances and tried to come up with a scenario that would work. Mike suggested we visit with Angie McAlpine to actually look at the price of the program. The best scenarios seem to be 5 days a week for 4 weeks, 7 hours a day. A full student program will be offered as in the past, including the beach in the afternoon. The program's total cost is $24,000. Mike Mascarenas has been able to kick in $3,000 from the county and $1,000 from the Youth Walmart grant, which would leave us $20,000 to pay for the program. This would need to be funded. Basically, we're looking at, this thing is $200 for 4 weeks, $10 a day, $50 a week. So we're looking for 100 students to get involved in this. And then the thing is vested, and from there we can just save money for next year. This includes breakfast, a snack, and lunch. Okay, the food portion of the program is reimbursed entirely through a county grant through Ag. But this grant must be run through the town of Ticonderoga to be offered. If the summer program can't be funded, neither can the food portion be offered. They kind of run hand in hand. We're taking pre-registration until June 1st, when we'll have to decide whether or not to do the program. Depending on how close we are on the money, we're going to look at this. Although we're attempting a scholarship program, adopt a student program, we have not had much time to get this together. This program must pay for itself, or it simply will not be able to be offered. I know I've had a lot of other stuff out there, but I want to make it clear, I need this thing to pay for itself. I understand it's a town program which makes people feel they should not need to pay, but it simply cannot happen without financing help from the students' families that are using the program. The county has helped with some of the funding and the entire food program. The town will have to front all the money and then get reimbursed. I guess it's up to the families to decide what they can afford to have a program, if there's enough interest, and if it can be expanded next year if it works. The scholarship program has got a lot of interest. I wanted to write this thing so it didn't sound harsh. We put this thing together at the last minute. We did not give families a lot of time. You know, if you got 4 kids and it's $200, you're talking about $800 out of your budget. So I understand if we have a lot of trouble with it this year and it doesn't make it, then we'll figure out next year and give people more time and all that. No matter how I wrote this, it didn't sound nice. I didn't want it not to sound nice, but you know, we have got to be able to pay for this program. So that's what we're trying to do, and an awful lot of scholarship money's coming in to help. It's pretty interesting, and John Bartlett's handling all of that. So that's pretty much my youth one. I am.
Call my office if you want to put that on too.
Oh yes. Tanya does have the packets. You can call her office to see the packets, find out about the program. All the money goes to the town of Ticonderoga. We will keep track all of it. So if this, whatever happens, people will be reimbursed. I am having another meeting next month, but I don't know when because I didn't put it in here. When's my next meeting, do you know?
You?
Yeah.
It's next week.
It's next week on Monday, 5 o'clock.
13th.
13th? Oh, that's a good day, yep. Monday's the 13th at 5 o'clock. I'm sorry, at the Armory would be the next meeting. A couple of things. I didn't get to work with Steve, but if you'll notice, there's a new fountain in the park. Derek Flurry and Brian went down there and did a great job installing that new fountain down there, and I wanted to thank them. We've kind of beat up our volunteers lately. I wouldn't make it through any of my things I have to do here without my volunteers. I just wouldn't even come close. So I want to thank everybody that works with us. We really appreciate the help. The only thing I did notice, I went up to the beach and I don't see that beach closed sign. Mike said we had it. Mike said it was up there. I can't see the sign. So how do we find out about this beach closed sign? We were dinged by the Department of Health for that. I need that thing up there.
585-7317.
Who's that?
Down Highway Garage. Okay, got it. Because I need to get that up there. I need to get that up there, the sign that says the beach is closed. But that's it for my report. Thank you.
Good one. Okay, public safety, Councilman Woodford.
We met on 4/29/2013 at 5 PM. All the Public Safety Committee members were in attendance as follows: Mark Johns, Calvin Cross, Dave Giuliani, Margaret Rahman, Dave Woods, Ross Kelly, Bill Ball, and Deborah Manning. Other people in attendance were Richard Holroyd, Jeff Cook, John Bartlett, Jody Belden, Kelly Whitman, Julian Beatty, Joanne Wakeling, Steve Hunston, and Ron Brinkwine. I advised that we would hold our meeting first and then go right into the public forum we were having. Steve Hunston asked to discuss the issues at the Chilton Fire Department with a new proposed water system. He asked about issues regarding the Corduroy Road intersection. Mark asked that this issue be brought to the Highway Department on 4/30/2013 in regards to that intersection where big trucks come over the Corduroy Road and make the turn to go up into Screw Lake, and they hang up right there.
I apologize.
Joan Wakeling asked if it was necessary to have a 30-mile-per-hour speed limit on Wicker Street, citing that it was difficult to keep the speed down in that area. Mark stated that it was really necessary to have the speed limit, citing that there have been many accidents in this area due to many turnouts on the stretch of road. Joanne also had concerns about the entry to the back side of the Army where the handicap parking is for seniors due to the slipping hazard there is in the wintertime. Dave Giuliani stated that the senior bus comes close to the door in that area, so it would really not be an issue. Joanne stated that she didn't take the senior bus. Dave stated that there are many areas like this around town and that this area would be put on the list. Zabar stated he was working on a project for a mural to be painted somewhere in Ticonderoga. I wondered if it could be covered somewhere under the sign ordinance in the town of Ticonderoga. Bill Baldwin stated it was going to be discussed at the planning board on Thursday. Bill asked if there were any plans for this to be maintained because after a couple of years, once they start deteriorating, they never get taken care of. Mr. Hoyt asked if there was a policy that a police officer has to wear a seatbelt or not use a cell phone while driving in a police car. Mark said the officers should be wearing seatbelts unless it interferes with their duties. He also stated that police officers can use a cell phone while they're moving in regards to their job. Mr. Hoyt asked if the town ordinance would cover any event, but asked if Mark stated yes. He asked if the state police can use cell phone when driving. Mark stated that he did not know what state policy was. Bill stated he's had a lot of complaints, which in common for the first time in this year. Bill stated he is looking into a better way to get these complaints completed at a faster pace. Bill stated he is mainly seeing the same complaints as always. We set up appointments to do interviews for part-time code enforcement officers. We did hold the part-time code enforcement officer interviews. At this time, Bill would like to hold off and see if we can possibly come up with some other candidates. Ross Kelly stated that Bill is making notable progress. Bill does need help in rectifying these issues, some of which have been around for a long time. He stated he has talked to the judges that they're willing to help with these issues. These issues are some of the things that we've been seeing around: burned out buildings, abandoned buildings, refuse, garbage, things in people's lawns. He has made quite a dent in that list in just a month and a half that he's been on working full-time for the town of Ty. Also, we had appointed him as a probational code enforcement officer until we found out what his how the qualifications would be set up to the county, and Carla has told me that he is all set and ready to go, and I'd like to make a motion that Bill be put on the books as a full-time code enforcement officer for the town of Ticonderoga.
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Cook. No discussion? He certainly earned it, and he's doing a great
Oh, he's doing a
job.
real good job.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
He has been calling me with some zoning questions I've been hoping we'll talk today. He's picking.
Oh, yeah, he's doing well.
He picked up a good one today, and I said,
He's
good catch.
Good.
I'm seeing a lot of orders to remedy violations, so he's going right after it. A lot of these are very frustrating, it's difficult, a lot of absentee landlord issues, but we're still
When I
going.
get a chance, I'm going to give him just a little memo of things. Written decisions and stuff, that's key on zoning.
I think that's what he's looking for.
Yeah, he and I talked about it today.
To know how to proceed.
That was good.
In the chief's report, Mark stated tickets have really jumped the past month because traffic safety is needed to be picked up for the summer season starts, because the department will be working on other things during the summer months. Told everybody, if you get a chance, stop upstairs and see the camera system, how it operates and what you can see through the cameras that are located on Montcalm Street. It's quite phenomenal what they pick up. The bills were presented and passed by the entire committee. Unfinished business. As you all know, we had a public forum that night, and rather than sit here and try to read through the whole thing, if anybody is interested, we have the copy right here at the town, and you can have a copy of it and go through the whole thing. There were a lot of interesting things. We found out Mrs. Beatty from the probation department stated there are 70 probationers in Ticonderoga, which relates to 23% of the probationers that her department handles. So that shows that Ticonderoga has a few. Mark stated that he did a study that showed 40% of arrests in Ticonderoga were due to substance abuse. He also stated that 23% of the crime in Essex County. Mark stated he is an advocate for the drug dog and the school resource officer. Mark stated because of budgetary issues, he has to look outside funding for these issues. One of the things that was brought up, as Kelly said, was possibly having an officer or the chief going to the school. Mark and I have talked, and Mark's looking into it, and see what we can do. And motion to adjourn at 5:51. Our next meeting will be Monday, May 20th, 13 at 5 p.m.
Very good, lots going on there too. Anything for library cable?
Yes. I don't actually have a report because they don't have that much, but they did have one issue. And Dave, it's for you. They've got an ant problem.
Yeah, in fact, Tanya and I discussed it, we're gonna get working over there.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay, good. Insurance Committee, we did meet April 17th. Myself, Steve Whitford, Christy Smith, Mark Crawford, Carla Bigliotti, Eric Senevelt, Rich Diedrich, and Sue Eustace. You have copies of this, and you were emailed this a couple of days ago from Susie, so you probably got that information already. Mark Crawford gave us a marketplace update and in an effort. He explained a number of the different, about 7 or 8 different taxes, fees, and assessments that are included in healthcare costs. It's over 7%. Just, I thought that was kind of interesting to find out that Healthcare Reform Act surcharge, 3.6%, that type of thing. Covered lives assessment, 44 cents, you know, it's like your television and phone bill.
They gotta get their piece.
Reinsurance, 70 cents here, $1.50% here. So the impact, the estimate of taxes, fees, and assessments comes to about 7.25%, which are mandated taxes and fees included in the premium cost. Let's see, June renewals for other towns and businesses are coming in at about 16% increase. Let's see, discussed offering a flexible, an FSA, a flexible spending account. Currently we're offering the health savings account. We got into a bit of a glitch there because of discrepancy between the Obama health care and the IRS deductions. So some of those exceptions are not, our children, adult children, that the money in their HSA account will not be able to use to pay their medical bills. So a way to offer an alternative plan would be to offer a flexible spending account. Because not all employees are eligible for the HSA, or it may not meet the needs of the families. The main difference between the two is that the health savings account is owned by the employee, and if excess funds remain in the account at the end of the year, the employee gets to keep that. They're retained by the employees of an FSA, a flexible spending account, is owned by the town, and excess funds in the account at the end of the year are returned to the town. So we'll have some more information on that at the next meeting, but just wanted to give you a heads up. That's one of the options that might be able to help these adult kids who are falling through the loopholes. And in the meantime, based on a letter that was sent from myself, to Congressman Owens, about the specific issue, Bill Owens has introduced a bill to enable the health savings account funds to be used to pay for Medicare for the kids up to age 26. So that's kind of in both houses now, so we're waiting to see, but it's kind of interesting that Little Ticonderoga, and thanks to Mark Crawford and the insurance company, we're able to change some of this federal legislation on how this health insurance works with discrepancy.
It's terrible.
So, but that'll take quite a bit of time, so. Potentially offering the other option, the second option. Wow. Next meeting is June 12th, 9:30 here. Which brings me into the contract negotiations, where we have a tentative date for May 23rd. We're working with Mike Richardson to schedule that. Yeah, I know. I'm moving right along here. Okay, going to the supervisor's report. We already discussed it, the state DOT notices for culvert repair on May 20th. And Route 9 will be closed a half mile north of Route 74 for replacement of the existing culvert for the duration of this site. And also that Delano Road, because the speed limit has been changed to 45 miles per hour. Final error project compliance inspection. I've got a letter from Chuck DeFazio, June 19th at 10 a.m. Chuck will meet with the town and AES at the offices, do a field inspection of the wastewater treatment plant and the septic receiving station. Channel 17, the Channel 17 public access program, I gave you a heads up on that. For Heath Town's position at the school, high school has been abolished. Heath runs the public access program, including videotaping the town meetings, working with John McDonald, to work on a solution to save the program and/or the channel, and we'll be discussing the associated cost and hours. As we gather all that, we'll get back to you, give the board an update. The assessor position expires September 2013. Board needs to have a little discussion. You're going to put it out to bid. You can either reappoint your current assessor, or you can put it out to bid. If you're going to put it, you need to get the ball rolling now, because all of the appointed assessors are up this year. So, and so there'll be a lot of. So you need to. Any idea what direction you're going to go with this? You're going to put it out to bid, or?
You mean advertise, request for proposal, or advertise the position?
And it's for a 6-year term. What are the other options?
Post
it, or reappoint.
I would move to reappoint her. It was me. I mean, if you wanted to talk about it tonight, I mean, that's would be my position. I'm just one person.
Well, Patty did send an email saying that we're going to put it out to bid, that she wanted us to discuss it tonight, so she would know.
Yeah.
It was going in.
I talked to her the other day. I thought she was leaning towards that. Only because of just everything going on, it kind of puts it all to bed, the different issues. That's why she sent me that email, which I thought she wanted it to go out to bid. Did I misread that?
Yeah, no, well, she just wants an answer. Basically, if you post in the paper, that's, in my view, would tantamount to a no confidence vote, which I feel would be sacrilegious, because I think she's learned a lot. I think she's helped and grown in the position since she's been there, and she's local. But that's just me.
And I, not to be controversial, but I feel just the opposite. I think we put it out to bid, and that we certainly consider her. But this is, I believe, a 7-year term. I think it's a 6-year term. Okay. Put it out to bid, see who's out there. That's my opinion.
I know that I did a little research, Crown Point, their little experiment that they tried. Again, I was talking to one of the displaced assessors, and it's not turned out to be the great thing that some thought it was going to be there, in his view. But like I said, this is that firm they hired at Crown Point is out of Syracuse, a person out of Syracuse, not a local taxpayer, which to me ought to be relevant, ought to be considered in your decision. You're taking money out of our local economy and sending it to Syracuse. To me, which don't make sense given the stifled economy that we're living in here.
Just because all the people come in doesn't mean Patty doesn't get picked. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
I think you have to be fair and put it out there. I don't know how you can just say, no, we're not going to give anybody a chance.
Well, no, Dave, it's like I said, I mean, you would advertise if you weren't satisfied with the performance of the person you had in the position. That's true. I mean, that's my view. Am I correct?
No, it's strictly, I see both sides of it.
Yeah.
It's
like
policy with any point of position, us, anybody. There's both sides of the argument.
Whatever you feel is best for the town, you guys.
This just me. I think we should advertise it, cover our butts, and then see what comes in. I don't know that much is going to come in. I haven't heard that much out there. Have you?
No, Dave. No, this first I even know who's going to be on the agenda.
Definitely wouldn't want to go the way Putnam or Crown Point's going, so but there are people that love her and there are people that are upset. I think if you put it out to bid, you get all that behind you and say, no, this is the best decision we can make for what we got.
It's definitely a thankless position at times.
Absolutely.
It just is. It's a difficult spot.
Yes.
It's be good to work with. No, certainly no breaks on our end.
Yeah,
Definitely.
like I said, I did get an email from the chairman of the Board of Assessment Review citing how much her informed, what a good job she'd done, and,
That was on my email. I got that too. Yeah. She sent all that to me.
Well, I sent that.
She sent something too.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, okay, here we are. Steve?
Personally, I kind of lean to where Wayne is saying. We had some problems at the beginning, we had some rough roads, but I think on the latter end of this road, things have gotten a lot smoother. People know who she is. Some people don't agree, other people agree. That's going to happen no matter what we do at any given time. But I think she's been a competent employee.
And like I said, I worked on the Board of Assessment Review, many years ago. We were on the review board together, and like I said, I've seen her grow in her position as a data collector for Polio, Trumbull. She's intimately acquainted with the town as being a 911 data collector. She's driven every street in the town, and can separate the fact from the fiction in terms of people building where they, and denying it or whatever. They travel these roads routinely and see things as a function of the job she does for the county. So, that's a definite plus too. But that's my spiel.
I just think it should be put out. It's a 6-year term, whatever, it should be put out. See who applies.
I guess you get to ride the fence.
Yeah, I know. Well, I believe also after 6 years that we should put it out to bid again. Actually, and I agree, yes, Patty we've all come a long way through the assessment process. That was a 5-year moratorium. I think I've always been of the impression that that would be the best.
I move the assessor position go out to bid.
I have the way you presented it last time when you hired Patty, and I don't know if you want to change it at all, but it says, the town of Ticonderoga seeking applications for the position of assessor. Salary will commensurate with experience. Please submit application to the personnel department. PO box, whatever. And then
Does it specify the hours?
It doesn't specify anything.
Well, we need to specify the hours. As part of her, we changed it. Initially, it was 28 hours, and then we changed it to 24, and then back ended up at 20 or something. I don't remember exactly. But
And there was a number of issues with related items with that, so we need to be specific.
I did talk to Dave Glarno, who had the job for several years. He does the town of Willsboro now, several other towns. But anyway, he said it's a minimum of 24 hours a week, and then probably more than that on a reval. Probably more like 32. So you just got to make sure there's enough hours to get the work done.
It's a salary, and then you would stipulate how many hours you require that person to work. So you can put it in the advertisement if you'd like, or just specify it upon the hiring process.
Minimum 24 hours.
I'm just saying, it may narrow it down if you're being
Right,
specific.
right.
If you want to reach out to all assessors that are up this year,
Exactly.
and then filter from there.
It's assessors and real property tax directors. Christie.
Our position is assessor.
No, but every sole appointed assessor and every real property tax director in the state is up September 30th.
September 30th.
13th of this year.
I like the way that reads, just the way it is. We can handle the rest of the interviews.
We can determine what's needed and
Who knows what's
plan from there.
going to come in?
We need to look at the issues of the Obamacare. We need to look at the
Where do you
issues
start?
of what we're offering for benefits, what we aren't offering for benefits. We need to get them clarified and not have them ambiguous.
Well, we can have all that together in the interview process.
Certainly.
Yeah, we don't have to do that tonight.
Yeah, I need professional help with the calculating of the number of hours part-timers can work, how the calculation needs to work. I have gotten so many different
What did the insurance company say? Is it based annually or weekly?
He can't give me specifics, and I need
How
some
can you run a
direction.
town?
How about the county personnel department, county?
That's what I thought.
See, he thought it was annually. If it's annually,
I'm getting
you could
this
work some people
information from
40 hours a week. They never
insurance
fall into
companies that
30
do.
hours when they're off half the year, 3/4 of the year, but...
Well, first I need help with calculating whether we are considered the small or the...
We're on the cusp with that, so we
Right
could go
there.
either way. It's
We're about
small.
46 or 48 full-time employees. If we're 50, it makes a big difference.
Who do you ask about this?
I need to put feelers out there for people who are savvy on the Obamacare, any professional service.
And our insurance company can't help us with any of those.
Well,
I
I
would
can ask
think
again.
I would think the county would have to know it.
They could have someone maybe come down and calculate it for us. I need some help calculating where we're at.
Okay.
And that will, things are being delayed again as far as this care goes. So we need to have someone come in and tell me exactly what's what.
Okay.
What's out there to advertise?
Okay.
Yeah, you brought it out there, Dr. Price.
Yeah. So I get a second?
That's
You know, and I'm fully expecting the patio apply.
Yeah, so, oh, I know she is. Yeah,
Did you second, Joe?
Yes.
yeah, I know she is.
Did we all in favor?
No, I'm opposed.
Two opposed?
I'm in favor.
Favor?
I'm opposed.
She ain't gonna reply. Debbie?
She ain't gonna reply.
Yes, she is.
No, she ain't.
Did you go talk to her?
I better talk to her.
What language did you use?
I'm telling you, talk to her.
Okay.
Don't matter to me.
I want to start some initial conversation.
As you read, to advertise as you read that.
Did we want a date? How long we're going to take the applications?
Yeah, probably have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the time's up September 30th. Everyone's in the same boat as we are. How soon do you want
Well,
this
you've
back?
you've got Crown Point, you've got Ty,
Putnam
Westport,
uses
Wilbur,
from Glens Falls. So there's people from all over.
pretty much Elizabethtown, they're all using sole appointed assessors.
So I can run the advertisement for a couple of weeks, and we can have applications in a month.
For the June board meeting, you want for the July board meeting? Where are we at?
Probably for July.
Yeah.
July 1st?
For the July board meeting.
Yeah, because she wants it done sooner than later, so that's what she asked. That's why we're here. That's why I don't understand why I don't think she's gonna run.
First up, what we say?
No. Okay, anything else with that? Is that everything? I'll be scheduling an initial meeting with the prevention team, which will be Matt McDevitt and Doug Turbeek, to talk about a message that Ticonderoga says no to drugs. I know there is a task force through the county that's already existing. I'm not sure that I don't know exactly what's going on with it, but I think it's time we take a stand. We know they're out there. We know the drugs of all kinds are out there, and I think that it's an educational process to the community, and opportunity for everybody to get together. This initial meeting will be, and they will probably move this whole effort forward, the prevention team out of the county. So we're going to have initial conversation May 22nd, 1 p.m. Is that a Wednesday on the calendar?
Yes.
Wednesday, May 22nd, 1 p.m.
These are going to change the bars for 4 o'clock.
Their focus is on meth in the communities, and actually, you have one of these in your packets on preventing
We didn't get it.
methamphetamine in your...
Change the bars.
Okay, well, then they're upstairs on my desk. I have one for each of you.
3 and 4 o'clock.
That's one at the firehouse.
For the booklet.
What data did they
Is that the thing in the
How
firehouse?
did they figure this out?
The firehouse?
And
Over public hearing, like there's some tape made.
EDC efforts, Hamlet expansion, APA application, we just received the GIS map from the engineers today of the Route 9 sewer district from AES, and so we'll forward the maps and the application to the APA for expansion consideration. Reducing APA restrictions, increase property values, and ease of residential and commercial development. There's a draft map there. This is what we got from
Is that for a
AES.
hamlet, Debbie?
For hamlet expansion.
Sounds like it's a hamlet, yeah.
Yeah. The light-colored areas on the map, on the AES map, are current sewer districts.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Did you email that to us?
I remember, we just got that today.
Did you see it?
Let's see, also, we took a tour of Alfred State Technology College with North Country Community College, the Thai Revitalization Alliance. That was April 20th and 21st, Sunday, went out Sunday, started the tour, and on Sunday, and all day of Monday at the college facility. We met with the students, we met with the administrators, we visited the technology and the trades building. It's really a wonderful operation they have out there, very well respected and recognized. And we also drove around the community, spoke to business owners and some residents to find out what the impact of this technology college had on the community. They've been around for, 30 years, so they've really polished their programs, but and we discussed Ticonderoga and Essex County need for similar college-level training for folks in this trades. It should be made available here. Out there, they were offering automotive, construction, computer, renewable energy technologies. It was really wonderful. So that's something we're looking at with North Country Community College. There's a possibility that they'll be expanding. North Country would retain their academic programs that they currently have, but possibly start a trade aspect as well, trades and technology, which would be a great support of International Paper Company, all of our large employers, not just locally, but might be another opportunity to help keep our young people around the area as well. Let's see, the local government day conferences in Lake Placid, that's hosted every year by the APA, but they invite everyone, the DEC.
They take attendance. And they take attendance.
And they take attendance. And Ticonderoga was present, and the state legislators. A lot of conversation about the new economic development initiatives throughout the entire park. And towns within the Blue Line, and I thought this was interesting, a very strong focus throughout the park and through a concerted effort for encouraging private investment and development in the Adirondack Park, and put a couple of classes on providing vision and planning for prosperity through Main Street planning and community visioning. This is an entire park-wide and statewide effort, actually. New York State Department of Transportation meeting. We had them come to Ticonderoga to review the massive number of signs that we have on our intersections and our areas. It's the lack of signage and tourism signage and directional signage as folks are coming into the area, not knowing which way to turn. We either have too many or we don't have enough, or they're rusty and tipped over. So we had both the New York State DOT, Reed Schultz came, spent a couple of hours with us, and Community Volunteer Signage Committee. So made some good progress there. The Thai Beach Rain Garden project, that had already started. A couple of years ago, it needed to be upgraded, so the Lake George Association, I've got some information on Walt from the LGA found another $2,500, so they've gone upgrading the rain garden at the beach, which will help absorb all the runoff from the roof of the pavilion and some of the messy areas there. And it's a good green initiative. This is Public Service Recognition Week, May 5th through 11th. So we'd like to offer a big thank you to all public employees. We know that what you go through hell often. But give yourselves a pat on the back, and one for Mr. Nolfi as well. So that's two. When I was coming back, I went home for lunch. This was about 3 weeks ago, first part of May. I came back over Lord Howe Street, and there were high school kids on both sides of the roads picking up litter and doing some good community volunteering. So whoever they were, we thank you. You did a great job, and they looked like they were having fun. On Baldwin as well. We absolutely appreciate those efforts. And I already gave you the invitation to the Heritage Museum to the 11th Annual Pace Tide Fundraiser. I hope you guys can go. Alrighty. Report of Department Heads. Budget Officer, Carla.
First thing I have are the interfund advances. That's for General Municipal Law 9A to be adopted for Abstract 5 of 2013. The first is from the General to the Capital Project Lucent Reservoir, H36 for $41,670.60, and the funds will be reimbursed with ESC financing. The second is from General to the St. Clair Stormwater, H40, $11,907.22. Funds will be reimbursed with financing. The third is from the General to the Capital Project FEMA PRB, H43, for $776.70, and the funds will be reimbursed by FEMA. The fourth is from General to the John Street Sewer Stormwater Separation Project, CD17, for $3,661.65. The funds will be reimbursed with the OCR grant funds. The fifth is from General to the revised town zoning law on that, H32, for $391.50. The sixth is from General to the Baldwin Road Sewer District, SSO8, $489.01. Funds will be reimbursed with rents. And the seventh is from General to the GIGP Stormwater, H41, for $1,839.88, and those funds will be reimbursed with grants.
Do you want to move that?
I'll make the motion.
Councilman Cook, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Councilman Whitford, discussion? All in favor? Anybody opposed? That carries.
Wayne, on the back truck. We did a resolution to award the bid, right, tonight? That's what you did? We can do a resolution asking Carrot, or asking legal counsel to prepare a bond resolution for the financing of it.
That's what I was trying to say. I was tongue-tied, but that's what I was trying to say.
Okay, yep. All right, I confirmed what I wrote down. That's what we need.
Yeah, I
So
would-
we need a resolution asking legal counsel to prepare a bond resolution for the financing.
Does it need to be worded all up fancy like? the
She'll
one for the-
word it all up fancy in the
And we do it next
resolution.
time? Okay, all right. I'll move that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That carries.
I do.
Jeff. Steve, is that notion that Mrs. Whitman brought forward, is that going to be on the agenda at the next police meeting?
Which
As far as putting the chief or putting an office up in the school?
we'll, when it comes to his time to say.
Yeah, chief is meeting with Johnny McDonald next week. John's been away for that.
I think we got all of the personnel issues discussed, except for, you all got a copy of the leave of absence request from a part-time groundskeeper. And I have given Matt all the documentation because I had some concerns in regards to whether it was sufficient for our policy manual. So the reason on here is just to take care of some business. Matt, do you want to give your opinion?
Sure. The request was, I need to take care of some business. Your policy is a leave of absence for a specified time not to exceed 1 year without pay for a sufficient reason may be granted to an employee by the town board with at least 2 weeks prior notice to the department head. In the case of illness, disability, or maternity leave, the employee shall be granted a leave of absence for a period up to 1 year, but must have a statement from his or her physician providing the prognosis and time off needed. So when you read that, it might seem a bit ambiguous to you, but it's not. There's basically 2 ways to get a leave, right? One is for a sufficient reason. If the reason is illness, disability, or maternity, the employee shall be granted a leave. So you kind of bind yourself with that shall in case of illness, disability, or maternity. Here, this letter certainly doesn't have any evidence of that. I don't know anything about medical status or anything like that. That's not in the letter. So that brings you back to whether or not to take care of some business is a sufficient reason. And just sitting here, I would say probably not. Because it's 2 things. One, it creates a bit of a precedent. You know, if you just grant a leave for taking care of some business, and there may be justifiable reason why the individual needs the leave of absence. I don't know if it's medical, it could be anything. But with such an ambiguous request, it creates that level of, it sets a low threshold, I guess is what I'm saying. It sets a low bar for a request for a leave.
Extremely low.
Yeah, very low. So I think it would be prudent to request, some follow-up information from the employee. I think Carl's done that. So at this point, what you'd probably do is table the request, because it did have timeframes in here without, for the town board to act on it. I would table the request and request additional information as to the reason for the request. Again, if it's medical or something, you got a statement from the physician, illness, disability, maternity, I think it was a gentleman. Could be maternity for a gentleman too, and that would be one reason. But if it was for some other reason, then there's just not enough here with that one sentence.
Okay.
Without prying. It doesn't need to be in public session. It can be.
Did you ask for more information? Have you asked?
I have extensive notes where I've asked for a doctor's note or whatever is going on, and finally, I did get this letter from the department head that this was given to him. I've left messages many times and have gotten no response. So I've gone through other avenues of the town, employees to find out, to get to the bottom of it. And this is what I got. And I just didn't want to say, go ahead and do this and set precedents. Like myself, I could ask you for a year's leave of absence, are you going to leave my job for a whole year? Just didn't want us to get into that.
I would suggest we send a certified letter.
Send a certified letter?
Yep.
It's his responsibility to deal with the personnel office, not to deal with a number of different employees.
I don't know what you're talking about.
She just said that she had to talk to other employees to try to get this.
What is his reason? What is the reason that you just read there? Take care of business?
I have the same thing you have. That's all I have. And documentation is that, there's a lot of hearsay on there, but I have nothing saying.
To send a certified letter?
No, you can. Nothing wrong.
Just explaining.
So I'm going to send a certified letter.
Have you called and left a message on the telephone?
I have left, I have documentation of the dates, the times, and the messages that I've left.
I called
I left
for it
generic
also.
messages, and then I left in detail messages, and I've gotten no response.
Okay, then you send a certified letter. It's not, we're not.
You don't have to sign for it, though, Steve. Can you serve it?
No, he doesn't have to serve.
Not me.
So what am I?
You don't have to sign for it. You can
Steve,
refuse to
direction, what you
sign.
want me to ask him? Be more specific?
We need a specific reason.
Send him a copy of the thing and say that we need sufficient information so we act on this.
Okay.
Then ask to have it back within a reasonable time.
He did answer me.
He answered you.
He likes you. I know what it's about, what I have to say. Yeah, not that easy.
That would be all that I had.
Legal counsel, Matt?
I have an update on the litigation and things. The main update that I have, actually, I forgot to write down. When is the next highway meeting?
First highway,
29, or 28, 28, May 28.
We got a preliminary, we got a letter yesterday from DEC on the spill in the garage. And we'll have to take it up to the highway. There's a bunch of things in there that I need some clarification from DEC on. I went through it today. I got it later yesterday and went through it today. There's a few things in there I don't maybe fully agree with or aren't really explained as to how they came to some of their findings. But the preliminary request for fine is, it was 86,000. Yeah. All but 40 suspended, which would mean a check for 40,000 to the DEC. So certainly I'll have some discussion. I did talk to Scott Abramson already from DEC. I'll follow up with him just because I need some things clarified and then have a discussion. I think the first step would be that highway, go through some of this stuff and then see how we're going to respond and address it. But its draft is pretty strong.
And the way I read it though, if it goes to a full consent order, it'll be worse yet, right? If you agree to this, it could be worse beyond if you don't agree to this.
Correct. That's generally how the consent orders are. Okay. Is it could be worse.
Like $37,000 a day for 15 days.
Yeah.
Worse.
Right. But there's some various remedial actions and things. And I think that's what we've got to go through and just see what the cost benefit is. It's going to come into play with the facilities analysis the town's been working on for a while. Options and things that you really got to take into account as far as addressing some of this stuff. And I've got some questions on things that there's basically some things in here I didn't know about that were given to DEC and supplied. So I want to follow up with them and just get a better sense of.
Were you ever able to interview the employees?
I have.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to follow up with some stuff now that I have this.
Okay.
It was kind of
Will you be giving us some type of synopsis of this whole thing and suggested?
Yep.
I still don't understand how this comes out of general, yet we have absolutely no recourse as a board. It's just very frustrating.
Well, where you pull the money from?
Yeah.
I think that would be a discussion for you guys with the budget.
Good.
As far as an obligation that come out of general or highway or?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that sitting here.
Okay. That was something that was said earlier, months back, and
It's just the garage is funded out of general, right? It's your garage maintenance and stuff.
the garage has its own checkbook right now.
Stuff like that.
The garage has its own checkbook. They got the money for the year and wants to their money.
The highway garages, yes. Yes, the highway superintendent is paid from general, and your highway garage, any expenses incurred there for that building, and the expenses of that building are paid from general.
So, but is this considered an expense? It's not a, this is something beyond, over and above, right?
It's an expense.
It would be considered expense, highway expense.
Just because they're out of general doesn't mean it has to come per se from general. It can come from individual department.
Okay.
That's what I need.
Yeah, that's a budget.
Yeah.
You know, it's all a matter of the budget, right? The town has the annual number in the budget, so how do you internally?
But then you're gonna do a budget amendment and you're gonna override, you're gonna go over the tax cap.
No. You don't have to.
If you,
Because technically, he has a budget he has to run.
Yeah.
And if you deduct that from that budget, he's gonna have to run
Somewhere
less than
else.
that. Yeah.
And that's a discussion with the board and how to present it. But there's certainly some things that gotta be addressed in here and interest in general. So I think we'll take that up with the committee.
I got a question for you. Never do landscaping with attorneys. When you're sitting around having coffee, we were visiting about the deal with the gentleman that said he'd like to put up whatever to finish the youth, remember? And then he'd be paid back a 0 interest loan to the town that would be paid back out of the money coming in.
There you go.
Well, the attorney said, I'll use the name John Doe. The town is selling to John Doe the town's right to receive $200 from kids who sign up in consideration of John Doe giving the money up front. John is buying the right to receive $200. Is that legal?
Say that to me again?
I'll email it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to get the money into the program, and that way they said, throw that at him. I said, oh, he's going to kill me.
Email me.
Kind of cool, though, huh?
I'm all for creativity.
Yeah. Well, these guys are...
Anything else, man? That was enough.
Okay.
I don't need any more, but do you have any more?
Coming at you.
Tanya, town clerk?
Are you still the same email address? No. Shoot.
Sorry.
I changed everything but that.
In case anybody is wondering why the skating rink is painted half or a third white, we are trying to paint the skating rink in order to be able to hold the ice better in the winter, I told. So we've gotten a third of it done, and it is quite the process because myself and my son volunteered to help with a couple of other volunteers that we got to paint. So I just want to make sure that I can thank Pastor Charles Bolstridge and his daughter Rachel, Christian Gibbs, Stephen Thompson, and Chris Swinton, and Fort Colby. I didn't get his last name, but they helped last Friday to help start painting that. And we will get to hopefully finish it in the next couple of weeks. It's pretty neat looking halfway, you see it from a mile away. That was
Very good. Chief Johns?
Nothing further to report, but if you are going into executive, I'd like to update the board on personnel issues.
End of meeting, approval of water and sewer reports. I want to move it. Councilman Taylor, Councilman Cook, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Supervisor's monthly financial report. Somebody want to move that?
I'm over it. I work this.
What did you say?
But I'm over it.
And second, did I hear something?
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That carries. Motion to pay the bills.
I'm over it.
Councilman Whitford,
I'll second.
Councilman Cook, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to final public comments? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to write a letter. I didn't realize that this discussion was going to come up about the assessor. And I would like to strongly voice as a citizen, a taxpayer of the town, that this town board does not reappoint Pat Osher as the assessor. And had nothing but grief with this person since she's been appointed. She's vindictive. She has never listened to reasonable discussion. I've beaten her twice on board assessment review, and after that, she has vindictively raised another property to make up for what she lost. She presented at a hearing as evidence of the value of a property, a listing, not a sale, which she clearly knew was inappropriate and not correct. I have had nothing but grief with her, and I strongly urge the board not to appoint her, even if she does reapply. Thank you.
Anybody else?
On this TV deal, does that mean the school won't be...
It's part of the budget cuts.
Okay. This goes out then straight to the television right now, like?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Can this be put on the town website? Can these meetings be?
It is.
Yeah, it is. We
Heath
can
is
do it
adding
from
to
here.
YouTube on the K, or he used to be on K-12.org. They have a YouTube where people outside the cable system could look at the stuff, but
Yeah,
I don't know what the status of that's going to be.
I didn't know anything about this. I mean, finding this out, that's why I was wondering if it's available. Just, what do you do, go to YouTube?
Yeah, it's for right now, the YouTube is www.youtube.com/Channel 17 Productions, and that's everything I put on there so far.
Okay, I'll catch that before. Also, to call a group of people a mob because they disagreed with you as a board is pretty strong. Maybe that is why you don't get input on a lot of things.
Who called who a mob? That came from out there.
That's what was being discussed. The word mob was mentioned on the town board by board members also. Maybe the people just want to be left alone. That could be the possibility too, that you should at least take into consideration. And if you want to get rid of some drugs in town, I would advise that you borrow Mont Moose, turn loose in Tycon Road, and let the cops chase them. Because maybe then they'll find a marijuana field just like they did over in Vermont. Or you might even bump into a meth lab, you know? And that would be a very cheap thing to do.
Okay. Okay. Got some executive to go in. Anybody else?
I just wanted to bring up the pavilion at the beach. I had to go through the planning board in Putnam, passed the planning board finally yesterday. So we can begin to move forward from there. Cool.
Oh, there was one more item at the county level. I forgot to do the county report. I won't. I'll just do the one that they did. The board of supervisors did change the hours of alcohol beverages being sold from 4 a.m. back to 3 a.m. So, and there's a few more caveats in there, so I did give you a copy of that as well. So. Tanya, you have a copy as well? Yeah. Other than that, okay. Motion to adjourn to executive?
For what reason?
Chief, you have a personnel issue to discuss? Do we have to be more specific than that?
To discuss the employment or qualifications of the individual?
The employment?
No.
Discipline?
Legal? Yes, disciplinary type action.
That would be the employment. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.